Give Me Grace, a podcast by Alan and Nolan, is a proud production of South Second Media. It is sponsored by the Corn Dog Company, home of the Honey Dog, and by Alder Cabinet Installations, classy cabinets for classy people, and by Division 7 Specialties, the TIPS awarded building envelope consultants firm, and by Hop Enterprises. For all your flooring and laminate needs, call Pop. And by Gibbs Farms, a Caribou County tradition that's continuing on today.
And by generous donations from the Friends of the Give Me Grace Project.
With all that said, enjoy the show.
Welcome to Give Me Grace, Season 2, Episode 2. This is a podcast that was pioneered by Nolan Mickelson, and I'm Alan Hansen, or Corky, and I'm so grateful that he has allowed me to be Luka Doncic to his LeBron James.
I want to be Luka.
No, you're LeBron. It's your thing.
I'm running the NBA, right? So
yeah, exactly.
I'm LeBron.
Yeah, so we have a guest. Should we bring him in?
Yeah, one of the funniest guys
Oh, yeah.
I've ever met.
I'm so excited.
We'll see if he's still funny.
Oh,
Mellor
look
is
at that.
Gentlemen,
It's David Mellor.
Gentlemen, you're
Man, you
nice.
just
You're
popped
generous.
right
calling
in.
us
I'm gonna
gentlemen.
tell you what, this is probably where all the cool kids hang out, right?
Ah, well,
I don't know.
Son of a gun.
Maybe the cool kids are somewhere else because,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking at him right now.
yeah.
Well, I suppose everything's relative. How you doing, man?
You know, I'm so good I could be a twin.
Well, that's pretty good.
That's pretty dang good.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I've been waking up at nights trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to say. I'm just going to wing it, boys.
That's what
That's
this
awesome.
is all about. This show is what's out of the box, different every time.
Well, put the kids and the old folks to bed then, because we're getting ready for a good one tonight.
That's right. You did tell us that you wanted it to be the longest episode ever. So
That's right.
I took off work tomorrow just because I knew that we'd probably be up on it.
What's bad is I'm on call, so that's perfect.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Well,
could you get called in at any minute?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you'll just tell them, sorry, got a tummy ache.
You know, I'm pretty important right now, so they'll just say, sorry, Dave, you know, do your thing.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as I tell them who I'm talking to, the famous Nolan and Corky Hansen, they're going to say, hey, just take your time.
I would imagine I still have pull around there.
Oh, there's not a doubt. How you guys been? Man, it's great to see you guys.
It's good. Been
It's great.
cold up here.
First he calls us gentlemen, and then he says, it's great to see us.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
absolutely.
Are you sure?
Enjoy it while
Sure.
you can, guys. Yeah, how come all of you guys go to the same barber? What's
Yeah.
going on here?
What? You
Yeah.
got a babe.
What the heck's the matter with you guys, man?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll be
man.
honest, though. I think it's kind of getting a little bit touchy on the front. Yeah,
You got some nice bangs, though.
I'm going to tell you guys, when you hit my age, 43, it starts to go away.
Yeah. I do remember you were super advanced when we were in high school.
You know, it's just what I was born with. I got to
Yeah.
do what I got to do, you know?
No, you're looking
How did
good.
you-
I look like one of those dudes that has the aging disease or something.
Looking at you two, I was like, I thought you guys were in like some movies or something after college and stuff. Jeez, what is going on? I'm like, I don't even know if I can compare to
Wow.
these two, but I'm going to give it a shot.
No wonder you've been getting up at night if that's what you thought.
You know, it's funny. I was telling my kids this. I was like, you know, the thing about it is I want to do this because I want to talk a little bit about my past, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't want to listen to it. I
No.
tell them, shut up and listen to this. This is good
Yeah.
stuff. And they're like,
That's
Dad,
right.
we've heard it all before.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it's all true, you know?
Rochelle's episode, I think,
Yeah.
is still the longest, if I'm not mistaken.
That could be.
Rochelle. I'm going to do an impression of Rochelle.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome. That's really good, David. Spot
Good.
on.
She's great. We've been friends for a long time.
Yeah,
Like,
you've probably known
yeah.
Rochelle as long as you can remember.
And that's the other thing I was going to tell you guys. I'm kind of disappointed in everybody's memories, man. My memory is like a steel trap. I remember everything. It's amazing.
Because you're only 43, though. That's why. Some of the people are 54.
Dave's 54.
I'm 53.
Dave Shaw?
Yeah. We
No
turned
kidding.
54 in
You guys
November.
really?
When you get to 48, you start going backwards? Is that how that works or what?
Wow.
funny.
We've got a
My
Benjamin
kids-
Button situation happening. No
Yeah, my
wonder
kids
your
say that.
bangs are so
Your
nice
hair is
looking.
growing back in. Your memory's coming back. You're remembering good things and bad things.
Oh, yeah. I only remember good things, you guys.
We better get this
I've had
episode
some
done
rough
before
goings.
he's a weird baby. No, we
This
should
is
do that
good
as a
stuff.
practical joke. We just set a baby up there with glasses on
And the Steeler hat.
and the Steelers hat.
Oh, I wanted to do this because Super Bowl is on Sunday.
Yeah, we need to.
Who's your pick, David?
I knew that was coming, and I'll be honest with you guys, I don't follow football. I don't really know what's going on with it. Okay, I'm thinking the Diamondbacks
That's a good
Do you have
pick.
a chance?
and the Lakers.
Okay, there's this superstar pop singer, and she knows this one guy who plays tight end for the
Beyonce.
team. She runs the NFL along with the refs, and so my pick, I'm going to go with Taylor, the refs, and the Chiefs to get Andy Reid his third consecutive Super Bowl.
It's a good
There
pick.
you go.
It's a good pick. I'm going to be honest with you right now, and it's got nothing to do with Kenny Pickett. He got nothing to do with those guys going. But I am a big Barkley fan. I got to go with the Eagles. And number one is because you can only hear Kermit the Frog talk so many times. And I can only watch Taylor Swift so many times. And I used to like Kelsey, but he kind of makes me a little bit nervous too. So I'm going to go with the Eagles for sure, guys.
There you go.
All right.
Being a Steelers fan, you can root for the Eagles. That's okay.
Corky, you probably know
Okay.
this, but Philadelphia and Pittsburgh are in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they were called the Steagles.
Is that right? The Steagles.
That is correct.
Short for Steel Eagles.
Yeah, and then they kind of split them up because the Steelers were a little bit
They got too
above
good.
par.
Yeah. I'd have
Yeah.
split them. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I-
Terry
not.
Bradshaw beat Ron Jaworski out for starting quarterback.
Ron took his ball and went to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, I'll take that. I can't believe that he was a sports announcer and he totally looked different when he played football. Did you know he's a commentator?
Yeah, I think so. But I don't know if I
Jaws.
ever saw him.
Jaws?
Yeah, Ron Jaworski. And when they'd show his highlights, I'm like, there's no way that dude is built. He's tall. And
How about
you guys probably knew, you guys have watched Duck Dynasty.
I know of it.
I know of it.
The main guy in there that started the duck calls and everything, he played with Terry Bradshaw
No way.
in college. in
What was his name?
Louisiana.
What's
Mhm.
not Mel
So-
Blunt or something?
No, Mel Blunt. That guy was a DB, man. Come on.
Oh, who am I thinking of? Rocky Blyer? Who
Back.
was the fullback with my baldness pattern?
Rocky Blyer.
Okay.
Rocky
Okay, that's
Blyer.
what I was thinking of.
But he actually beat out Terry Bradshaw to play for the Steelers, and he quit
And he had his own dynasty, his Duck
Yeah.
dynasty.
later. The things you'll know with Dave. Sit
I've
down.
learned like 7 things already.
People were probably like, I thought this was Give Me Grace, but it's Steeler talk.
I'll tell you something, and this does trace back to the Steelers. The Steelers is the first dynasty that I knew, and I
Absolutely.
hated them so much because I was an Oilers fan, and we
Oh,
couldn't
that
beat the
was- that was-
Steelers. Earl Campbell would run for 150, 200 yards against everybody, and he'd hit that steel curtain. He wouldn't even average a yard per carry. They had no chance against the Steelers, so I hated them. They won 4 out of 5 when we were younger. And I've hated dynasties since. I hated the Yankees dynasty in the 90s. I hated Patriots dynasty. But I'll tell you, I'm not sick of the Chiefs yet.
Oh boy.
It's a mystery to me. Life's a mystery, Dave.
I like the Cowboys, but I'll be honest with you, I was so tired of the Patriots and Tom Brady. And I like Tom Brady, but the Patriots stomping us almost every time.
Yeah.
We went to the championship, they put us down. I'm like, okay, what do we got to do here? Deflate the footballs or something? What do we got to do?
Get your air pump over there. Tom's going at it.
Corky
Yeah.
pick is the Chiefs then?
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Chiefs. There are 2 outcomes. Either the Eagles win by 2 touchdowns or the Chiefs win a close game. I don't
Yeah.
think there's another thing.
Travis did give me his pick. He says that he's reluctantly picking the Chiefs.
Yes, he didn't like it.
It's hard to not pick them because of the refs, but man, Barkley's just been on fire, guys. You know
That's
that.
true. Barkley is good. All right.
All right.
Let's get into it. Here we go. Okay, Dave, where do you live?
I live in the big town of Soda Springs, Idaho.
Okay. Whereabouts in town?
I would live in Bailey Creek. Do you guys remember Bailey Creek at all?
That's where
Probably.
the rich people live.
Yeah.
Up on the
And
hill.
it's 5 miles south of Soda Springs. Headed
Back by
out
the
to the
river.
lake, you turn and go the other way. And we got a clubhouse. We got a community up here. So we got a clubhouse, right?
Oh, nice.
It's got a little swimming pool. It's got a rodeo arena. It's got
How
a
about
tennis
that?
court. It's got some basketball courts and stuff. It's pretty nice.
That's cool.
The down part about this is it's starting to get sold out and overrun by a lot of out-of-staters.
Oh, okay.
And, that's kind of a bummer because I've been up here for 27 years.
Oh, wow.
And my goodness, it's just crazy to watch all the people put in their houses. And I don't like the out-of-staters too much. They bring in too much politics.
David, do we still say red cream soda or no?
Yes.
The Grace and Soda place still?
Yes. As a matter of fact, my son played them just a week ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The Grace people still chant red cream soda or no?
I didn't hear it at this game. I believe they do say it, but they have a hard time saying it because it doesn't usually happen. I'll be honest with you, Grace did beat us. We played them about 3 weeks ago. They beat us, and then we beat them about a week ago.
Okay. Same conference?
Yes, I
Okay.
believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. Football, no. They got 8-man going right now.
That's right.
Yeah. We still got the 11.
Okay.
Are you a Cardinal or Grizzly? Be careful. We're on
got
the
it.
Give Me Grace podcast here.
Nolan, I know you're going to say that. So I went to Grace, and I'm pretty good friends with a lot of them still over there. And they're like, hey, you're sitting in the wrong section. I'm like, yeah, but you see that tall blonde kid out there in the middle of the court? That's my boy. I got to kind of support him. And both of my boys played against Grace pretty tough. It was really hard not to vote for him.
Yeah.
But when the fight song comes on from Grace, I still sing it. Can you see right there?
What is
Yeah.
that?
That's a
What is that?
Cardinal football.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is it? So I'm going to test you since we're talking about the Soda Springs Cardinals. In one of the episodes, we talked about former Soda Springs Cardinal quarterback. Do you know who we talked
Archer?
about? David Archer. Yeah.
David Archer, yeah. Named their football field after him.
Yeah.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
Archer Field?
Yep.
Are the lines 10 yards now?
Did you measure them or what?
Okay, so when we were juniors, we played in Soda, and there was a touchback, and Soda had the ball on the 20-yard line, right? On third down, they get 9 yards, and they brought out the sticks, and it was a first down. And Lynn was like, talk about a home field advantage. What's going on? You shouldn't even have measured. He's like, well, if they got 10 yards, we're going to give it to them, despite what the line says.
Gosh, I didn't play football my junior year. I broke my foot.
That's right. I remember
I
that.
didn't play any sports junior year. That was a bad year for me. I was in crutches. I hated that whole mess. Senior year was a good time.
Senior year was a good time. Yeah, that was fun. So what do you do there in Bailey Creek when you're not in the clubhouse and at home?
I work maintenance at the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, love it.
Awesome.
Love it.
How long you been there?
I've actually been there for only about 3 years.
Okay.
Every job that I've done is usually in maintenance. I like to work on boilers, pumps, and motors, all that kind of stuff. So
Okay.
absolutely love it there. Great place. All the other places I worked before, there's a lot of things going on, but this is more a professional atmosphere that I enjoy.
That's really cool.
A lot of people from Grace work over there, right?
There's quite a few. Yeah. Your cousin's out there, Heather Mickelson, Robinson's out there.
Okay.
Okay.
Jody Matthews, she
Okay.
works there.
Okay.
That's Jane Ann's sister-in-law, I believe. You got Stephanie Hunter. She used to be a docksteader.
Oh,
I don't really think about where everybody's from. I just chat with them.
okay.
I know a lot. I'd have to really sit down and think about.
Yeah, I
people
put you on the
from
spot,
Grace and Soda.
Yeah,
but I do put people on the spot.
he does that.
Yeah.
He was bragging about his memory, and now he can't remember.
Okay.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Well, the hospital's been like that forever, right? Big employer of Grace people.
Yeah.
My mom worked there after she got her nursing degree.
Really?
As a licensed practical nurse. She worked up there with Dave's mom,
Mhm.
actually.
Is that right?
Yeah. Dave's mom was an RN at the hospital for years and years, I think.
Was she in the old folks part?
My mom might have worked with the old folks more, but I don't know if there was a lot of need for RNs over there.
Mhm.
Not sure. Yeah.
They're expanding it quite a bit right now.
right?
They're doing a lot of great things right now. We're trying to put a new hospital in the next few years. So
Like
they're
build a
bringing in
new
a
one?
lot of new doctors and specialists and stuff. It's pretty cool.
That
They'll
is
pull
cool.
me in every once in a while at night if they got an emergency. Usually I'm taking care of the boilers and plunging the toilet.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Highly skilled labor, huh?
No, man. Actually, I won't do it.
Oh,
I
you're above
can't.
that.
I'm not very good at that. I just fix stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I'll go and
Good.
fix the pumps and the boilers and, work on the air conditioning and stuff like that. But when it comes to that stuff, I'm going to back out of that real easy.
You're going to delegate that one?
Yeah, afraid so.
Do you work as part of a maintenance team?
I got a manager that I'm under right now. And my oldest son just barely got on. He got hired about a month ago.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Him and I worked together at a mill in Bancroft for about 7 years together.
Wow.
And I was a maintenance manager there, and he worked under me and taught him quite a bit. And so he was able to come over with me, and we're happy to have him on with us. He does a good job.
Where does he live?
He lives right next to the high school in Soda.
Okay.
He got a nice home over there.
Awesome. Okay, so tell us about your family.
My oldest son is Dustin. He just turned 30.
You were 13 when
Exactly. Yeah. And I wasn't very proud of that. It wasn't my best moment.
Oh, you've recovered nicely.
Everybody said, I thought you were older now. No, 13 when I had that kid. Dang it. He just got married to an awesome little gal from Mountain Home. She's a pretty good girl.
Okay.
I got Megan. She's my second to the oldest. She is 27, going to be 28. And she's married to a boy named Chance Young.
That sounds a little familiar.
Yeah.
from
That would be Dustin Young's nephew.
Okay.
He's Bart Young's son. She married him. They have 3 kids and one on the
Nice.
way.
That's awesome.
I got 3 grandsons. They are Trey, Asher, and Tate.
Nice.
All right.
My next daughter is Haley. She just turned 20 like a few weeks ago. She is living in Idaho Falls with her mother, and she is practicing at the Ermac Hospital. I think she's an RN right now and trying to move up. Not quite sure, but she's a smart girl. Excited to see where she goes. She graduated pretty high in her class, so I'm trying to get her to expand on her education. The other son is Logan. He's 17, and he is a junior.
Okay.
How tall is he?
Kid. He's 6'6.5".
And he's a junior?
Oh,
Yeah, he's a junior. He was 6'4" as a freshman, I think.
Might still grow then.
wow. Have they told you he's done growing, or has he got more in him?
They said he's got more in him, but he hasn't done a whole lot in the last few months. I think he's almost hitting 6'7" when we measured him at the hospital.
You
How
need to
about
go
that?
hang him from the swing set.
Yeah, actually, if you're on Facebook, he's on there hanging from the rim. He's the only one on the team that slams it. He slams it during
Yeah.
the games.
I was going to say he could probably touch the backboard like me.
Yeah.
Being that tall.
That's right. He's very athletic. All my kids are actually pretty athletic. I actually got a chance to coach every one of them. I got some great memories and great highlights of every one of my kids playing ball.
Well, what'd you coach him in? Football, basketball?
Football and basketball.
Okay.
My oldest daughter went to Bancroft with her mom for a little while, and then she came and lived with me in the last few years, but she played volleyball and basketball. I think her mom coached a little bit too. Her mom played a lot of sports too.
Oh,
Okay.
In Grace.
Very good. So you have 4 kids. Got the 4,
Yes.
2 boys and 2 girls.
Yes.
The 17-year-old bringing up the rear there, and he is playing ball now. Does he do anything with track?
No. So he's the football, basketball player. He's taken up golf for the high
Nice.
school. His girlfriend, she cheers. And when cheers over, she does track. So he's actually talking about doing track this year.
Oh, yeah, you got to do track.
6'6.5". Maybe you don't want him to do track because he might
High
get
jump.
injured. He'd ruin
No.
his basketball career.
High jump.
Yeah. The doctors were saying something about him really watching his ACL and MCL and all that.
Oh, yeah.
He used to be just a fast little bugger, but now his legs are so long.
Yeah, that
Just
makes
having to
sense.
drag him, from one end to the other. So I think he wants to do discus and stuff because I don't know if we can drag those big old legs over the
Yeah,
bar.
let's get some field events. It's not a super great advantage to hurdle as a tall person.
Right. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. Kristen's
Yeah.
doing it, so I might have to follow her around.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. What about pets? You got some pets up there in
I do.
Bailey Creek?
Yeah, it's not my very favorite thing, but I love pets. The only thing is I got these pets on accident. My kids just give them to me. like
Yeah.
everybody else on there. I got a cat that's wandering around right now between my legs. Sassy little one. Her name is Sassy.
Oh,
And my daughter, Megan, brought her home from her mom. She loved this cat. She goes, I can't get rid of her. Can you take her? And I'm like, I don't want no cats. And one morning she just showed up at the house and ran in and handed this to me in a bag of food and said, love you, Dad. And I was like, whoa. And she was gone. And I've had that cat for goodness, I want to say 13 years. Oh man, I love that cat.
how about
She
that?
is so awesome. Then I've got a dog that's lounging behind me. He won't let me out of his sights. He's a brindle pit bull. He's got tiger stripes on him.
Oh,
I can get him over here, but I got to speak Spanish to him.
okay. Muy bien.
Hey,
Bueno.
perro,
Vení,
ven aquí,
gatito.
ven
Oh, it's a
aquí,
perro.
perro,
Pero.
ven aquí, Titan.
Titan.
Yeah, he says his hair isn't fixed, so he
He's
can stay down
Cambridgeshire.
there.
Yeah.
I just woke him up. He's a little ornery with me. I mean, he's such a baby. He's got anxiety issues and everything. We were getting ready to go to Hawaii, and I come home about 2 days before we were getting ready to go to Hawaii. And I walked in the door and I realized it was awful cold in my house. And it was February 2 years ago. And I walked in there. I was like, what is going on? Why is there snow on my dining room table? And there's Titan sitting in the middle of my dining room. And he had chewed his way through the French doors. I do not know how. He had blood dripping off of his nose. He just has anxiety issues, wanted to be with me. He won't leave my side.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll edit this out because PETA's on top of us right now because of Devin Thomas's episode. So
I
Right.
didn't see that one. Yeah, definitely edit it.
Yeah.
He's such a good dog. They get a bad rap. I had a pit bull before him. His name was Boss, and he was the same way. He just loved to be around us and everything. It's the weirdest thing up here in Soda Springs. The pets get stole. I think they had what are those dog rings or whatever? They caught somebody over in Downey
Oh.
and Malad doing it.
Wow.
And so I don't know if that's what happened to him, but it broke my heart. And so when Boss got taken, my oldest son was, I think, 16. And he's like, Dad, I found this dog on Facebook. They want to put him down and I can't let him do it. And I'm like, dude, I don't want another dog. He goes, I just want to see him. I just want to see him. And I said, no, I don't want another dog. And so we go for a ride and he's driving and we go to this house. And I'm like, dude, what are we doing? He's like, I just want to look at this dog. I said, no. We get out. This dog comes up, rubs his nose on us, like puts his paw up. He goes, let's just check it out. I said, all right, this is your dog. You're taking care of it. Well, he took care of it for probably about 6 months. It didn't work out like he thought it would. And then he bought his house in town. He's like, Dad, I can't take this dog in town. And I'm like, what am I going to do with it? He says, just, take care of him. I'll come back. That was what, Titan? 10 years ago? 12?
cinco años.
Yeah. Was that 5 años? Couldn't get him to listen to anything I did until I spoke Spanish to him.
Huh.
It's weird because the cat's the same way, but I had to speak German to her.
Yeah.
I've heard about that actually. Because what the dog does is when he gets with his buddies, he's like, you'll never guess what I got my owner to do.
Guess what I got my owner to do, you guys? Check this out.
Yeah.
Everybody
this
act
out.
like you can't hear him.
Yeah.
Listen to him call me home. Isn't that stupid?
Yeah, watch this. I mean, the coolest thing about this dog is he absolutely loves to ride in the front of your truck. He's a lot better if I play some good music for him.
Little Tejano, I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
no, he doesn't like Spanish music. That's what's weird.
He's a mystery.
I can't figure him out.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want his friends to know some things,
He's not fluent yet. He's only conversational. So.
Yeah, he's conversational.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. And I try not to say a lot of things in front of people because he gets a little embarrassed. That's all right.
Cody has a little note. He wants to say that the Mellor family is awesome.
Oh,
David's mother was always asking me how I was doing. She always had a smile. David had a sister that was my babysitter when I was a toddler. And he had a few stayovers at the Mellor house. You guys would play Battleship.
Oh.
And David always was a stalwart friend, and he finds a way to keep smiling his way through life. Caribou County has a real Idaho gem in David.
I'll tell you what, the check should be going to his house anytime. I appreciate that, everything he says. Just an amazing dude, man. I just appreciate having a chance to talk to him and knowing the accomplishments he's made. Just a good guy. I mean, he walked through there, and I actually thought that was Tom Cruise coming out of, Top Gun for just a minute.
Yeah,
I was like,
no,
whoa,
I know what you mean.
that guy is outstanding.
Yeah. Good kid.
Yeah, he's probably got 3/4 of an inch on Tom Cruise, too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Got a lot better hairdo and stuff, too.
Yeah, he's got better hair.
Yeah, how come he got to keep his hair?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we just got better haircut styles than you guys. I don't know.
Yeah. Texas? Maybe it's the Texas thing, Alan.
It could be Texas. I was going bald before I got to Texas, though.
Yeah.
All right. So we graduated in May 1989, and we're sitting here today filling this gap for us. What happened after high school?
Oh, goodness, guys. I mean, we get a lot of stuff. So we graduated and we went to Phoenix, Arizona. Actually, Lance Cannon and I went, and I think Jared Rasmussen went. He went into the diesel mechanic part of the school. Lance and I went into the electronic part of that. We went there for a couple of years. Absolutely had a blast down there, left our mark in Arizona.
I can imagine.
Yeah, we had a great time. We come back. I worked at Sears in Twin Falls for a few years, and Lance went to Julie Electric in Idaho Falls. It's weird because he's in Idaho Falls, I was in Twin Falls, but yet we would meet sometimes in Pocatello, or we'd go to each other's places and leave our marks wherever we went. We were there for probably 2 or 3 years. He ended up getting his journeyman electrician license, and I was working at the Sears as a technician, and money wasn't quite there. So I come back to Grace and started the mine. I started driving those big 120-ton haul trucks.
I did that for FMC one summer. Yeah.
I started out at Conda Mining, and I was on the maintenance line.
Careful with how you say that.
Conda Mining.
I just mined for phosphate. I don't know what you were doing.
I worked out there for a while. I love the heavy equipment aspect. Yeah. It's weird because I've done so many different things, and none of it's what you go to school for or what you think you're going to do. Yeah. I think one of our teachers said, you're going to change your job probably 30 times in your lifetime. And he was not lying, because I have changed everything I've done. But every job that I have done has benefited me to do another job. So I got certified on all these heavy equipment operations and stuff. I could drive the dozer, the loader, and everything like that.
That's cool.
And then I think actually I've worked in every mine plant here in Caribou County for a few years here and there. And I've loved every moment of it and the people that I've met. And I've just bettered myself. I went to work at ChemStar when I married my first wife. I went out there for a little while. Then the funny thing is, I got laid off and I did insurance. I sold insurance for a while. That was a treat. So they sent us to Chicago for like a month to train. And then we went to Utah and trained a little while longer. And then I got my license, and I did that for probably a few years. I got married. I was on the road quite a bit with that. And so I got another job. I think that's when I went to ChemStar. And then I was actually working at the lumber yard here in Soda. Loved it, man. I just was able to build things. I've put houses together and stuff like that. It's just been a ball. Mm-hmm. And then I went out to Agrium for quite a while. I left there, was on the maintenance program at Monsanto for the Mark III. Mm-hmm. And then I went back to Agrium and worked for a contracting company called J. Merritt. I was actually in the warehouse doing stuff like that. I was certified on the forklift and all that. So I was doing all of that. Started welding a little bit out there. And then from J. Merritt, I went to Agrium for a few years. And then I left there and I actually went to the gun safe place in Grace.
Okay.
I was managing the welding part of it. I was the shop coordinator over there, and I loved it. Just amazing. We left there, went back to Agrium and worked for Turner for a little while, and I got certified as a scaffold builder. Then I went to the mill in Bancroft. So, I mean, I've been bouncing all over the place, but everything I've done has benefited me on my next career. So I balance out at the ripe age of 43. I balance everything out, and everything that I've done. I mean, the people I've met and the things I've learned. I drove cement truck for Staker Parsons for a few years too. That was quite a good time. And I actually worked for Thane Kill with Chad Kirby doing concrete for a little while.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So that helped me get into the Staker Parson part of it, because I could go out and I mean, I did The footing. They loved
it
it.
up.
They said, "Can you jump out of your truck and help us do this form?" Oh man, I do a form all day long. When we worked for Thing Kill, we put up all those great big potato sellers out there in Niter.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. It was fun working with Chad Kirby. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
That's probably when I started to learn Spanish so I could hear what they were talking about us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's useful for that.
Did they speak Spanish, or are you talking about the other workers?
I think Chad spoke a little, but the other workers did too. I don't think they ever said anything terrible, but you could tell they were talking about me. And if I could say, "What were you saying? Cállate tu boca," huh? It's been fun to do all these different things because I've enjoyed it. And I think what I enjoy about it is learning new things and doing new things. I want to be the type of person that, could settle into something like everybody else, but I feel like I just couldn't hold still and I wanted to learn more things. But now I could jump in any piece of equipment. I could drive it. I wired up my basement. It's just all this stuff is so fun to me.
That's
just to
great.
do different things.
That's awesome.
So when did you finally settle down with you and Lance and Jared to the point where you decided, I think I want to get married? What year was that?
1992.
92. Okay.
93.
93.
Yeah.
I dated a girl in Soda Springs for quite a while. When we graduated, we were engaged when I went to Arizona.
Is that right?
And everything was great. She kind of waited for me. And then when I moved to Twin Falls, she was pushing the marriage thing. I just wasn't quite ready for it. So we broke it off. And when I left Twin Falls and went back and started working at Conda Mining is when I went to the Grace game and seen my future wife run up and down the court.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then
Very good.
how old was your oldest?
We got married in 93 and I had him in 95.
Okay.
That was a tough one because I remember telling Lance, "I don't know what to do, but I'm going to get married." And he's like, "Whoa, wait a minute. You're going to stop all this that we've been doing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's time to settle down, buddy." And I think he got married a year later.
Oh,
Did he?
okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad, David, that you agreed to tell us a few things about him, and later on we can dive into some fun stories too about him and Jared too, obviously.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of us know that Lance passed away, but fill us in a little bit about Lance.
In high school, we were pretty close. I mean, I felt like I fluttered around with all sorts of different friends, but Lance just made me laugh. And the thing that got me was we always dared each other.
Okay.
So we always dared each other to do stupid things, and we succeeded in a lot of those all the way to when he passed away. But there's a place just west of McCammon. I'm pretty sure it's Goodenough Springs. Anyway, it's a beautiful place up in there. It's got little swing sets and stuff like that. And he went up there with his wife and kids to celebrate his oldest daughter's birthday, I believe. And he had a motorcycle. And when he went up there and celebrated everything, he'd come back down. And on that road, it's just a really loose gravel road. And it's a long straightaway. And then it cuts really sharp. So if you don't slow down for that corner, it's going to take you. And he didn't slow down, hit his brakes, skidded, hit the fence post, flipped him off his motorcycle, and he landed on his neck. And I believe he broke his neck. That's just, how I heard it being told by his loved ones. So I went up there and I checked out the site to have a little closure for myself. And I kind of seen where everything happened and what did happen. It's a tragedy. He left too soon.
Where was he living when they were?
So he was living in Pocatello.
Okay.
And he was working for Julie Electric in Pocatello.
Yeah.
Goodenough Creek, it looks like. Goodenough Creek west of McCammon, due west of McCammon.
Goodenough. Is that what I said was
good enough? Yep. Good enough.
Okay, good.
Goodenough Creek.
Yeah. I go up there quite a bit just to reminisce a little bit. He was a good friend.
Yeah.
I believe he's buried in Tokerville.
Somewhere in Utah, right?
Utah. Yep.
Okay.
I think that's where his roots were.
I always remember Lance Cannon's laugh. He had this like guttural laugh. He wasn't a huge kid. He was around my size or whatever, but he laughed and it was just this bellowing, deep laugh. But then when I worked with him, I worked with Lance for Kevin Smith later on. His laugh had changed or something, or maybe he had another laugh. And it really struck me. I've never forgotten that. I don't know if I've ever encountered people having different laughs. That always struck me as remarkable. That I just loved that guttural laugh of his. It was so good.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
Well, thank you for that.
Sure.
If you could tell us a story about Jared too. I mean, you spent time in Arizona with both of them, huh?
Yeah. So we were lived in an apartment on Camelback, and I believe Jared was in an apartment on Indian School. What we did was we did phases through our college. So his phases were a little bit different than ours because he was in a different part of the campus. So Lance and I worked down there together at a place called Showcase Pontiac, a body shop. And I'm not sure what Jared did. And Lance and I, we were super busy doing things down there. Probably every couple of weeks, we'd find Jared. We'd go to the Taco Bell, when they had the $1.79 and 89-cent menus. That really upsets me like right now. And my sons love it right now too. But gosh, I can't think of throwing down a $30 bill for a couple of tacos. But we would get with Jared, and we would go up to the South Mountain. We go hike up there, and best thing about South Mountain was if you can get in there before they close. When we were there back in the 90s, you can get to the top and they'd close it and the sun would go down. And I remember all three of us just kind of kicking back and really soul searching and talking about grace and what we miss and, just different things and aspects in life.
Maybe that was the first ever episode of Give Me Grace.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. It was beautiful up on the South Mountain, and a lot of people go up there and hike. It's like a lookout up top there. And I remember Lance and I did a lot of the soul searching. We'd sit down and we joke all the time, but a lot of times we just sit down and really talk about life, mainly how we could make $1 million between the both of us, things like that. And that's one thing I really enjoyed was our conversations. But
yeah,
we grabbed Jared. We went down a river called the Salt River in the summer. It was just a great time. And you would be away from somebody that you shared your life with in grace. And all of a sudden you're in another place, almost like another time in Phoenix, Arizona, and still being able to share these memories with your buddies. It was amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you sharing that. For us that live away from grace, we hear of someone passing. We don't get to know much. I hadn't seen Jared probably since high school, and Lance too.
Yeah.
And to just get to hear some stories and remember them, that's important for us to do that because they were part of our class, and they can't share their stories now, but the people that knew them the best can share something. And I think that's a way to show our respects to them.
I'm the type of guy who loves to laugh. I was a jokester all the time, and I still joke with everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
And Jared and Lance probably have a laugh I won't forget. And to be able to, enjoy life with them is a big thing for me.
For me, I remember spending time with you and Jared chasing around in that truck when that song Faster Pussycat was out, and we would listen to that song over and over and over.
That was a good time ago, guys. Gosh, one thing I remember about Jared is when we were in high school and he talked me into going and helping him brand. I love his family. I think that his parents were just amazing. And we went up there and we're tackling those cows, and I thought I was pretty tough. And I mean, those boys could throw them down. Lynn could really throw those things down. But all I remember is, we're branding those buggers, and all of a sudden he reaches over and grabs a knife and does a couple of slices, and he tosses these Rocky Mountain oysters over his shoulder. And I saw the dog gulp those down like a pelican and a salmon. And I was like, what in the heck is this going on? He goes, oh, it's okay. We do this all the time. I think I about lost my lunch that day. The coolest thing about working at the hospital is the people that I see in this community that I've grew up with. So his mom's name's Glenna, right?
Glenna, yeah.
Yeah, her sister was in there, and my son and I are walking down the hallway, and in comes Lynn, and I was like, good night, the people you see when you don't have a baseball bat with you. And good night, man. He come up and shook my hand. And the good thing about working at the hospital is you see so many great people that you've grown up with, and the Rasmussens are it. But the bad thing about working at the hospital is some of those good people don't leave, and that's hard to see.
But for you have that ability to make somebody laugh, and maybe that's exactly what they need. When you see someone in the hospital, they're not there for fun. They're there for a reason, and maybe you can bring a little humor to their life or bring back a memory for them that maybe eases some of their burden in that moment.
I was down there last year when I worked there. Dean's mother, Linda, she was down there for a little while, and I've known her my whole life. I mean, I went out to Dean's for a little while, and we were pretty good friends in school.
Yeah.
And she was down there for a little while. She was sick with a bad cold. She was staying, for a week or so. And I'd walk by and she'd be looking at me and I'd say, hey, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm great. Come in and visit. And so I really got to know her on a more personal basis than I ever had before. a matter of fact, she'll text me every once in a while and ask how I'm doing, and I'll do the same. But to sit down and laugh and reminisce with her about, the times I spent down there when Dean was in sixth grade with us.
Yeah.
She treasured that. And we laughed, and I just think the world of her, and I never knew her that well, but a chance to sit down with her every morning, give her a Diet Coke or whatever, and to say, hey, what are you doing, Linda? And she goes, I fell over here and this and that. And I said, those cookies you made were absolutely amazing. She goes, I always give you guys the bad ones. And I was like, I knew it. I knew you did. But, I treasure her friendship. And every time she comes in, she comes in just as beautiful as ever. She'll come in and have some lunch, and she'll look for me. I'll look for her, and I go, there you are. She sent me a text a few days ago. Dave, just wanted to check in with you. And I'm telling you guys, this is why I love that hospital. I just love communicating with the people of this community. And they tell me, you're like the mascot dog down here that makes everybody smile.
There you go.
It's just amazing.
So you're doing more than maintenance. They need to give you a raise.
That's what I say. I feel like they pay me too much.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah, edit that, please. Great people. Just great people.
Yeah.
Give Me Grace, a podcast by Alan and Nolan, will return after these brief messages.
When you place your next order at the Corn Dog Company, what are you gonna order? Choice is yours, always yours, at the Corn Dog Company. Stop by a location near you today. At Alder Cabinet Installations, we design classy cabinets for classy people. Looking for a custom cabinet installation for your home or business? Let Alder Cabinet Installations do the work for you. Let us save you money and reduce frustration. We do kitchens, bathrooms, entertainment centers, family rooms, mud rooms, laundry rooms, home offices, and more. Alder Cabinet Installations. Would you like to see the custom cabinets we can design for you? Alder would. Visit our website, aldercabinet1.com, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Now back to this episode of Give Me Grace, a podcast by Alan and Nolan.
I don't even know where we're at. It's okay.
We are starting with faves.
Yeah. Are
Yeah.
we ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll get a lot more stories later.
Sure. Yeah.
There's always time for stories.
I got a story on every one of you guys. Let me just say really quick, Nolan, when we were going on the bus, I can't remember if it was for drama or if it was for basketball, but all the time, you remember Lance, Ken, and I would always go Fonzie, Fake Bank. Remember that?
Fake Bank, something like that.
We did that, and I think it was because of Happy Days or something. We'd always do that, and you'd always come up and say that, and we would just chuckle forever. And I just remember us on the bus having a good time wherever we were going.
We had some kind of rapport in Mrs. Gummersall's English class. That's why we always got kicked out. I would get kicked out in the hall. You probably got sent to the principal, but she took it easy on me for some reason. I don't know.
I always had to go to the principal's office, every one of them. We had one in every year, you know.
Yeah, we had a new one almost every year. You're right.
But man, we had a rapport or something in English class where I think we were just competing to see who could be the class clown.
That's for sure.
Oh, we might as well do this right now. I want to see if you can still do that thing where you walk behind a couch like you're going down some stairs.
You know what I did just the other day? My son and I, we're moving the Christmas ornaments and stuff down to the basement, right? And they're having a class, these RNs and everybody, they're doing their class. So we go past this door that's always open. And I love everybody. I make them all laugh all the time. You remember those little squares in gym? We'd stand on those squares with wheels.
Yeah.
We have big ones of those to haul the heavy stuff around.
Yeah.
So my oldest son was like, Dad, you know what we ought to do? I ought to pull you across there. And I said, I'll stand on yours and I'll hold this one. And then when you pull me across, I'll act like I'm rowing the boat. So we do that one time. Then we turn around and go back the other way. And I'm doing the old George Washington salute as he goes over. Okay. And then the other one, I think that I was lounging, just fell asleep. Those poor girls were dying in there. It was hilarious. My son's like, Dad, I don't know if you're ever going to grow up. And I said, you know what? I hope I don't. Yeah. That's what keeps your hair.
Yeah.
Oh,
and you stay 43.
there you go.
What's your favorite food?
I tell you, I love Mexican, absolutely love spaghetti, but I can't believe nobody has said this yet. My favorite food is Dutch oven, cobbler, and a big fat ribeye steak cooked up in the mountains on my barbecue. I absolutely love a good steak and Dutch oven potatoes, and I'm good at it. And if you're good at it, you might as well do it. You know what I mean?
Do you do it at home or just when you're up in the mountains?
I'll do both, but I don't know what it is about up in the mountains. I feel like it tastes a little bit better when it's up in the mountains.
Because you're hungrier.
But yeah, you're hungry. You're camping under a tree looking for something to eat.
But when you leave your backyard, are you up in the mountains already?
Yeah, I'm in the mountains right now. I walk outside and throw a rock. I'm hitting a mountain lion in the butt.
Okay.
Coolest thing about up here in Bailey Creek is every morning I'm pushing deer and elk out of my yard.
Yeah.
A bad thing is we have the mountain lions come up and try to eat them, you know, get at your dogs and stuff, but I'm right in the mountains.
You don't have any backyard neighbors?
No, I do. Actually, I'm in the neighborhood of Bailey Creek, but a lot of them are farther up and they're right in the mountains by the creek. Beautiful place.
So what do you wash your steak down with? What's your beverage of choice?
My beverage of choice right now would be water.
Water?
Yeah.
Right from the stream.
Yeah, and we got some amazing water up here, and my kids always say I'm silly, but it is really good. I just started dating a girl in Idaho Falls, and she was a runner, and every time that she would run, I couldn't keep up with her, and she goes, you know, it'll stop that. You stop drinking that Pepsi.
Yeah.
Run with me. So I quit drinking Pepsi, and the funniest thing, I started running with her, and once you get off of that for so long, you take a swig of that pop, it is terrible. It is just sweet.
Well, because you were drinking Pepsi instead of Coke, for one thing.
Yeah, that's very true.
First of all, he mistakes a Chevy for a Ford, and now he's just blatantly just throwing out there that Coke's better than Pepsi.
What's weird, I thought that Nolan was a Pepsi guy all the way back.
Sean.
I remember Sean was.
Yeah. Pepsi.
I went and worked out at Monsanto for summer relief after we graduated from high school. They had a summer relief program that the employees could bring in their kids and make some pretty good money for school. I went out there, and I remember it was right after we graduated. It was hotter than crap. And I went down to the locker room and to the pop machines, and the only thing they had in there was the Dr. Pepper. Oh, boy. I grabbed the Dr. Pepper out of there, and I took a swig, and I spit it out, and I washed my shoes with the rest of it, and I went back to work. You couldn't talk me into drinking that stuff. I'd rather lick the sweat off of a dead camel's neck than that Dr. Pepper. I can't believe people drink that.
I live in
Right.
Texas. We have to drink Dr. Pepper here.
I thought that Coke was a Texas thing.
Coke is Georgia.
Hmm.
Atlanta, Georgia. Dr. Pepper is from Waco, Texas.
You know what disappoints me is I'm a Pepsi guy, and when I have a steak or some Mexican food, I absolutely love a Pepsi, but I just can't drink much of it.
Yeah.
And that's weird for me to say because I absolutely love water. Everywhere I go, I got ice water with me.
Yeah.
A big old mug of ice water, and I swallow that just like nature's intended it.
When we go home and our kids drink water, especially when my parents still lived in Lego, my kids would rave like they couldn't get enough.
Yeah.
Is the water in Helena as good as the water in Caribou County or
Yeah.
better?
Yeah,
or-
it's good. We have good water up here. I have a little bit of trouble when I go to Boise. Nobody drinks the tap water in Boise. They all have their little water coolers and stuff. But yeah, the water is not as good other
I'll
places.
tell you, the water in soda is absolutely terrible, but the water up here in Bailey Creek, we have our own well. It's
Hmm.
absolutely amazing. Rumor has it that an old medicine man blessed the spring when he was living up here.
Okay.
And I guess when the moon's out, you can actually hear him chant the words of the blessing. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe
That's
it.
super amazing.
Rochelle was telling us about all the minerals in the water, and she's really
Is that right? Do they
Yeah.
have minerals up here?
Yeah.
Hooper?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Rochelle is on my list. I talk to Rochelle as often as I can, probably not as much as we want to, but I'm like, you're telling me that you came to Soda Springs and you did that little historical thing
Practically
and
in
you
your
let me know.
backyard.
You guys, I'm on that historical society. The guy she's
Wow.
talking about, Bill Horsley, is a good friend of mine. I work
Oh,
with
yeah.
his kids. And I'm like, you're telling me that was the one day I think that I left and was doing something. And I'm like, I know exactly where she is. I absolutely love the history of this area. I'm not a history person, but the history in this area is absolutely amazing. And to know that Rochelle is up here and didn't get a hold of me to say hi,
It feels almost intentional.
Yeah.
that's what I think. She said she was sorry, but I'm going to have to decide later if
No,
that's
that's-
true or not.
Yeah.
There's stuff you can be sorry for, and there's stuff that you
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah. When we actually started conversing, she was living in Nevada, like she was telling you.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to go and visit her and go skiing. I still ski all the time right now.
Mhm.
And that was my plan, was to get over there and go skiing. And then I think later on that year, she moved over the hill into Arizona.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a chance to ski with her, but I still ski now. I love it.
You should go to Georgia and just not contact her.
Just do something really fun, like right in her neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
love her to death. I've known that girl a long time. She's the best.
yeah. When she was moving across country from Arizona to Georgia, I was figured she'd go through San Antonio, but no. 'Cause
Yeah. Well, bless her heart for
She didn't wanna
that.
stop
It's
in
not
San
deliberate, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Whatever.
think she's
Well, it could have been worse. She could have gone an Uber in San Antonio, but not yours.
Yeah. That's true.
That's what she did to Dave. That's
Why?
the equivalent. She could come to Helena and come toward Carroll College and not look me up.
Yeah.
That's what she did
What?
to Dave.
Yeah. And what's funny is I usually go on those little historical walkarounds with Galen Wilson and Bill Horsley. There's the little ZCMI building down there, which was where we got our historical society set up. I mean, I know exactly what she was saying. I was like, I was there and you
Yeah.
didn't say a word. Oh, well, it's okay. We went to Grace, went past my old house. Who lived next to you, Rochelle? Dave, does his dad still live there? Yes,
Oh.
his dad does. She had this beautiful crab tree at the side of their house.
Uh-huh.
And I'd be like, you remember this tree? Look how beautiful it is. He goes, oh, that's so great. And they ended up cutting it down and everything. Still, I still remember Rochelle
Mhm.
next door, right? And Neil and Bonnie. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so you're telling me you went to Grace and you drove past all these little places that I go every day? I probably watched her car go by.
I wish you were on that tour just to see her face when she saw you on that tour, knowing that she didn't contact you.
I think
And you'd be
I'd
like,
probably
oh, it's fine. No, it's cool. Let's
Hey,
enjoy
well,
the tour.
friends, huh?
like
Yeah,
nothing.
sure.
I think it was her episode or maybe her parents' episode. They talked about a guy on Halloween came in and sat at their table.
Mhm.
Oh, and didn't say a word.
Is that you?
No,
Oh.
Do you know who it was?
no. When she said that, I believe that was probably Don Grunig.
Grunig.
Oh.
Because I remember she asked me about that, and I was like, no, it wasn't me.
Mm.
All right. Well, what's your favorite dessert?
You guys, I make an awful good huckleberry peach cobbler.
Okay.
In my
Oh,
Dutch
yeah.
It's absolutely
Dutch oven.
amazing. If I had one of those on one side with ice cream out of a warm cobbler. And I had the hospital cheesecake.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one I'd take because I love cheesecake and I love that cobbler when it's hot with some ice cream. But I'd say 51% cobbler, 49% cheesecake.
And what ice cream are you putting on it?
Vanilla all the
Okay.
way. You don't want to take away from that huckleberry flavor. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
The huckleberries are like 5 miles from my house. You know, we go up there and pick them all the time. So we got freezer full of huckleberries. I do my own peaches. Everything is just how I like it. It's just absolutely amazing. It's worth the money.
You must have like 27 hours in your day to do all these things that you do.
When I told you I wasn't sleeping at night, I'm seriously sitting there and I was thinking, you know, I am a pretty
I need
blessed
some
man.
huckleberries.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take care of that bobcat while I'm there. And
Just
get
walk
the
toward the medicine man's voice.
I hear you out there. Let the
Medicine
yo.
man.
Does he speak Spanish too?
You're multilingual. We're going to get into the German later. What are some of your hobbies?
I do everything, guys. I'm not kidding. Right now, I chase my youngest son around, and if I want to stay with him, I've got to do the young people stuff. So I'm actually stay pretty active. We golf. I do a lot of hunting. I bow hunt. I do a lot of fishing, water skiing. I love to camp with my kids. I got a brand new trailer. I didn't want to have to get a trailer that somebody else had slept in or used the bed or anything like that. So I bought a brand new one. Beautiful trailer. I just enjoy life, you guys. I still ski.
You golf
I
at the
just
country
picked it
club
up.
there?
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
We used to do that one, and the one over in Montpelier has got a great one.
Oh, yeah.
They got a good one. I haven't been to the Preston one. I'd like to. Actually, Lance and I golfed in Arizona on Camelback, and that was amazing. But I don't really think we tried to hit the holes. I think we were trying to hit the cars that went by.
Yeah. That's what you're supposed to do, I think.
I'm pretty sure that we had a hole in one more than once. I'm like, hey, I don't know what happened. I'm just trying to hit the holes, guys.
Where you like to go skiing?
So I'm actually teaching my youngest son to ski right now. I found it's best at Beaver.
Okay.
Okay.
I have some really good friends that instruct over at Pebble. I enjoy Pebble, but it's awful steep and rocky in some spots. But yeah, you know Pebble. But I do a lot of Utah skiing. There's actually Cherry Hill just outside of Smithfield. Logan and I hit that a few times, and he was new, so it was kind of harder. So Beaver Mountain just seems to be the best for him right now. But you know, Lance and I, for about 3 years, we hit every ski resort every weekend for at least 2 years because I was working out at Conda, still living with my parents. We just ran all the time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And we did Powder Mountain, Snow Basin, all those, Kelly Canyon and Idaho Falls. Great place.
So,
You ever pop up over the mountain to Targhee?
Yes, that was an amazing run. You go to a ski lift, get off and go to another one and go up and do another one. I remember skiing one of those with Lance. I think it took us almost 3 hours to go down that. We did Bogus.
Bogus
Hit
outside.
that
Bogus.
a couple of times. I had some friends that I went to college in Arizona with that live in Boise that we went and visited, and we went skiing up there. Yeah,
That's awesome.
love to ski.
when you go to Beaver, do you go down through Grace or you go around to Montpelier?
I go around through Montpelier. It seems a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
And then go up over the hill, and then we go down to Logan and get something to eat and come back that way.
Oh,
Make the loop.
When we loaded up Logan, my son, we went through Al Sporting Goods and stopped in Logan and loaded him up with all the stuff he needed.
yeah.
And shame on you, Al Sporting, for saying you were cheap. Wow.
That's pricey.
I guess we won't be able to get a sponsorship from Al's.
Does your son's girlfriend, does she ski? Is there a motivation there?
You know, I don't know. He's dated her for about a year and a half now. She's a cheerleader, cute as heck. I think she's about 5'5". Yeah, it's pretty tall for a cheerleader. And then you got this 6'7" kid walking around with her. She's super shy. I don't know if she skis or not. Logan kind of stopped skiing this year because of basketball.
Do they still tell him not to ski?
Yeah.
I asked him, I said, you want to go hit a kid slope a couple times? He goes, not till we're done with districts. And I said, all right.
Yeah.
Doing what the coach asked him. That's a good
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
Let's see. We talked about hobbies. We forgot music.
Music.
What kind of music did you listen to in '89? What do you listen to now? Is it the same?
Yeah, it's the same. I hung around with a lot of the older kids when we were young. You probably knew that. And so I listened to everything they listened to, which was a lot of Motley Crue, Metallica. I got to like Metallica. But then I also liked stuff they played on the radio. Every time I woke up, the radio was going, what was that? Kiss in 97 we listened to
97,
back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of that. I just love good music. I wasn't a big country fan. I don't know how you guys listen to that. That doesn't answer your question, but I liked everything.
It does. It's the right.
I can actually sit down and listen to every song and probably sing almost every song from Aerosmith to Metallica
Okay.
to whatever's on the radio at the time. Right now, when I go in the mornings, and the one station I listen to is the 80s rock station, and I just love it. Love to listen to it.
There you go.
So you think you could sing a few bars of a song for us?
No, I doubt it.
Too embarrassing.
Yeah.
He's always pushing. He's just always pushing.
So Dan Patrick says you have to ask the question. You have to ask the question.
Oh.
It's up to them to answer it or not. So
We need to close the loop on something, because the listeners, I'm sure, have been just on the edge of their seat ever since Nolan talked about Faster Pussycat. Turns out it's a band. Their first album was 1987. So there's a little asterisk next to Bathroom Wall, which means it might be the one. So I'm going to play it right now. Listen up. So anyway, that's Bathroom Wall.
Man,
I'm gonna find it. So, yeah,
that's what I listened to when I was with David and Jarrett. That's not what I listened to when I was by myself.
Fair enough.
Right, Dave?
Yeah.
In the Chevy truck, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, back then, I don't even know if I was stuck on one song. I mean, we listened to a lot of AC/DC. Remember that? We listened to Kiss. Remember in the locker room, in the football locker room, Long Cold Winter by Cinderella. We listened to that a ton, and I loved all of those. But I also loved Prince and The Time. Remember that?
Oh, John.
When that Purple Rain movie come out? Oh.
Oh yeah.
Remember that one? Gosh, I remember all that. Yeah, you remember when we was in junior high and we went to Lava Hot Springs and I played Beastie Boys on my ghetto blaster and I sang that whole tape all the way there. Sang that whole thing. I just loved music. I loved a little bit of rap, and Jared Holtz and I used to listen to the Disorderlies, Run DMC, big Run DMC fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I watched the Night Tracks when I was a kid.
That was like the other channel, not MTV, but like the MTV
TBS.
Yeah.
Yeah, TBS. I watched that because we had TBS, but then I'd watch Friday night videos. It didn't last as long. I think Night Tracks was on all night. I just listened to all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so Meta AI is telling me that the song I'm thinking of by Faster Pussycat that begins with their name, Faster Pussycat, kill, 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 kill. So I'm guessing maybe it's canceled.
I didn't say it was good. I said we listened to it.
I'm just giving the listeners what they need at the moment. There's just a lingering question. Nobody's going to be able to sleep. Had to be done. I got to answer the question.
Yeah.
That's what Dan Patrick would tell me.
That's right. You have to answer the question.
I have to answer the question.
All right. We're not even halfway through.
Okay, here we go. All
We'll
right.
try to move it along a little bit.
Yeah,
no, you're good, guys.
All right. So, Wayback Machine, elementary school. You went to Grace Elementary, probably. Did you go to Thatcher too at times?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love Thatcher.
Okay. What grades did you do when?
I did Grace all the way to 5th grade, and I went and did 6th grade in Thatcher.
Oh, so you were one of those too.
I tried so hard to get to Thatcher sooner because Rochelle went all the time. I believe Tina Peck, she lived behind us, and she went all the time. I just was always jealous because I got to go to Thatcher and ride the bus. And I thought, man, I want to go there and see what it's like. You know, guys, I absolutely love Thatcher. We went there a year ago because they were shutting it down and they opened it up for everybody to go through. Gosh, dang it. I got the coolest pictures and I sent them to Rochelle. Thank you for that. But Thatcher was just amazing. And to go and see how everything had shrunk from when I was there.
Yeah, the school's a lot smaller now.
I remember everything about Thatcher, everything. And, you guys talked about Mrs. Skinner. I sat down next to Mrs. Skinner and thanked her for everything. You guys were talking about some of those songs. You guys forgot about Abba Dabba 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 said the monkey to the chimp. Yeah, and what about ooh ee ooh ah ting ting walla walla bing bang. Witch Doctor? Yeah, that one. We used to sing on Broadway.
Yeah,
say the neon lights are bright on Broadway. I love that. I love music. Mrs. Skinner was amazing. Do you remember when we did our music program? We sang some of the Beatles. I walked down off the stand. I was in the top. You came out of a dream, peaches and cream.
4 of you got to pretend that you were the Beatles. Were you one of those 4?
Yeah.
See, I wanted to be one, and I was the 5th. I couldn't be one.
I remember Mrs. Skinner said, okay, I need 2 people to come off of the stands, and I want you to twirl the other one. The guy twirls the girl and goes back up. So she goes, okay, Dave, come down. So I come down, and Tina White, I believe, was the girl. So right at the first, you'd say we come out of a dream, spun around a couple, and then we went back up and sang the song. That was a good time.
Do you know who the other 3 were or no?
No, I should have
known. That was like 30 years ago.
But you were one of the 4. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Mrs. Skinner was so great. And I remember coming through the top. I got pictures of the top of it looking down to where we would stand, and she'd play the piano. And she play the accordion and stuff?
Yes.
I sat down with her and I said, I want you to know you were the most amazing music teacher ever. Thank you for everything.
Yeah. So you were only in Thatcher for 1 year?
Yeah. One amazing year, one fun year.
All right.
Who did you have in first
grade?
Yeah,
who did you have in Grace?
Mrs. Ray was my teacher. Was it 2nd grade?
It sounds right.
I remember kindergarten was
Mrs. Pickle.
Mrs. Pickle.
Mrs. Dillman.
Yeah.
Her name was Dillman, so we gave her the nickname Mrs. Pickle.
Were you there in Grace, Nolan?
Everybody went to Grace. There's no start.
Thatcher didn't have kindergarten.
Yeah. Okay. So you had morning or afternoon?
Morning. I remember Rochelle and I went down there. Her mom or my mom would take Rochelle Sanders and I down there. And she had this red jumpsuit like a race car driver did. Okay. And I was like, Mom, I got to have one of those. We could never find one. Doggone it. I had Mrs. Toon for 4th grade, is it?
Mrs. Toon and Mrs. Clark were the 2 3rd grades.
Yeah, because we did the mythology in that one. I remember I was in there with Dustin Young. Mrs. Kingston was my 4th grade teacher.
She would have been 5th. Well, no, she would have been 4th because I was Wilker. You didn't get to go upstairs. You were.
And I wanted to so bad, Corky. Every time you brought that up, I'm like, you son of a gun. I wanted to go up there so bad. Do you remember when we had that earthquake and you guys felt it up top?
You said you did, but we knew you didn't.
I didn't. But good news, I felt the 300 that we had, 4 years ago?
Oh, I heard about that.
Earthquakes here, like 4 miles from my house over in Sulphur Canyon.
What's the cause of that?
Just shifting. There's big sinkholes over there by Georgetown.
That brings up a geologic question I have for you. So you live in Idaho and I live in Montana. When Yellowstone blows, which one of us will die first, do you think?
Oh, how far are you away from Yellowstone?
Depends on which way the wind is blowing.
110, 120?
You're toast.
So we're probably 210.
Okay.
But if the wind is blowing south, Dave's got to run.
Well, I'll text you when I'm about to die, and that'll give you like 7 minutes.
My boys and I said, if that happens, we're jumping in the truck and we're headed straight for it. Yeah, you can't run from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that brings up the other thing, guys. The reason I know that Mrs. Kingston was my 4th grade teacher is because I had my appendix out in 4th grade.
Okay.
And I have a card that everybody signed. And I remember working at the hospital, what room I was in when my parents came to visit me.
No way.
Yeah, so crazy.
That is awesome.
I got to write this down so I don't forget it.
Mr. Clark was my 5th grade teacher.
We were in the same class then. I had Mr. Clark.
Do you remember Mr. Clark used to chase us around the classroom?
Yeah. Windley, I think, said that he mashed 2 people together.
I want to say Kim Peterson was a part of that hit.
Yeah.
Never got to go with Mr. Lowe. I was with Mr. McGregor. I remember running around the hallway as fast as I could and running right into Mr. Finley. And I thought Mr. Finley was such a bear.
He told us that story, Dave.
Well, he even told me about it when I was down there visiting. I ran into him and his daughter, Carla.
Carla is a year older than us.
We're still friends. We still chat once in a while too, but I seen him come into the hospital and he didn't even recognize me.
Yeah.
But he said that I was always running. He said, I remember you, Dave. You were always running up and down these hallways. And I said, you come around the corner, ran right into me, and I grabbed you by the back of the shirt and I escorted you down to Mr. McGregor's, told you to sit in there the whole recess. And I go, you sure that was me? He goes, oh, I remember it was you. It was you for sure. I said, I don't know. I was a pretty good kid back then. My 6th grade was probably the time I really got crazy and did a lot of dumb things.
Did you remember
Did you get in the
day?
middle of the tire and then roll down the hill?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think that I started that.
Which one? The tube?
That's
The
possible.
tube. I want to say that J.J. Donnelly went down the tube with us, and I think somebody said he did it first, but I want to bet money I did it first, but I think we did it together quite a bit.
I'll trust your memory.
Chris Bartlemy told me to do it. I loved him to death. And I remember we were down on that little pad in the back, just looking up on the hill.
Yeah.
And he said, Mellor, I'll give you $1 if you jump in the middle of that and go down that thing. And I said, you got it, man. Easy. And I went up there and went down it. And then I remember everybody doing it. And I was like, man, that's a ball. It's a blast. But I think they stopped it, right?
Yeah.
But doggone, Chris Bartlemy, I love that guy. I remember the lunch ladies. Mrs. Anderson was one of them.
Maybe.
I think it was Bart. Is it Bart?
Bart's mom? Yes.
Yeah.
Bart's mom. Yeah. In Thatcher, we had to help put away the tables.
Yes.
Did they do that in Grace, Corky?
No.
I don't remember.
There was a tub where you put your silverware, had some water in it, and it would get
we
so nasty.
Hope that was like a pre-wash.
It was out back of the kitchen. I remember Jared Rasmussen and I was doing it one time, and we were sitting there just watching the river go past the road. And I was like, when do you think we got to go back to class? He goes, I ain't going back to class. I was like, I'm with you. Yeah. Do you guys remember, like in Grace, Mrs. Gibson, the lunch lady, made us eat everything all the time?
Yeah.
We'd divide up the beans and push a lot to one side and a little to the other, because she'd say have a couple bites, and we'd put them in the milk carton, you know.
Yeah.
How many times did we stick those peanut butter balls to the ceiling?
I remember that. Yeah.
We went down there. We had a Christmas party down there about 15 years, 20 years ago. Before it went down, you guys know the grade school went down, right?
Yeah.
Before it went down, we were in the gym, and I still seen peanut butter balls stuck to that ceiling. I told my son, I said, look up there. And he goes, what is that? And I said, I bet you that's peanut butter balls. You do that, Dad? And I said, I don't know if it was me, but I bet Corky Hansen did it.
You guys remember a guy named Chet Creamer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we were in elementary school, Chet Creamer liked spinach. Everybody would give Chet the spinach.
See, isn't that the secret of life, though? Is to like something that everyone hates? Like, you can't plan it, but when that happens, it's heaven.
Yeah.
That's great. I remember old Mrs. Gibson. Oh, bless her heart. I was like, lady, just let me leave. I don't
She
want
was
this.
super invested in us eating all of our food.
So you know why that is. That generation, they didn't have it. They
Yeah.
had to eat it.
Yeah. No, it's a psychological thing. My dad has it.
I remember riding our bikes together, and JJ made a ramp, and we were jumping our bikes into the canal right by the library. I just remember that kid taking off, and I was like, I don't know if I can keep up with this kid.
He could do something for the first time and be good at it.
Yeah.
And that's what-
Exceptional athlete.
We did quite a few things. I remember him coming over to Rochelle's house, and there's some pine trees, and we were jumping over them and goofing off. And another year or two later, and they had grown like 3 or 4 feet. And he goes, "Were those the trees we were jumping over?" And I said, "They were." Now those things are like 40 feet high now.
Yeah.
We're friends on Facebook, but you don't get on there very much.
No, he's hard to get hold of.
Yeah, he's elusive.
Before we jumped to junior high, I remember you guys talking a little bit about the escapades in Thatcher.
Okay, well, I was going to ask you about the kissing that was going on. This was formative for me because FOMO is a new word, right? But I was experiencing FOMO in 6th grade. I was like, wait, they go up on the hill and they kiss each other? And I'm sitting here in Grace? What is going on?
Yeah, you missed out, buddy.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what Behind the Hill looked like until everyone was saying, "Hey, yeah, come back here and check it out."
Did you
Yeah.
have a first kiss with some specific person there?
No, my first kiss was definitely in Grace.
Oh, okay.
All right.
You were trying to
Yeah.
bring that to Grace. You were trying
Story forthcoming.
Where did the kids kiss in Grace? Where did you go to kiss?
And the playground and the jungle gym and stuff like
Okay.
that. Or when everybody was leaving to go to recess, you kind of stayed behind a little bit.
What are you talking about? Where was I? You're making it worse.
You were out on the jungle gym before anybody else was, Corky.
What a waste.
I'm first on the jungle gym. I'm first.
Yeah, Corky, you won. You did. You won. Everybody look, Corky won again.
Oh, do that thing where you rub in your back or something.
Oh,
Like something like this.
you put your hand behind your back and rub back and forth, reach down, grab your own butt or whatever.
Yeah.
That's literally the closest I got to kissing someone in elementary school.
I don't know, Corky. I remember a couple of girls following you around.
I didn't look behind me then, did I? Who did you like?
Oh, you talking to me?
Yeah.
Mr. Washburn.
Okay.
Absolutely
Yeah.
loved him. I tormented that guy so bad, and he just come out smiling. I see him all the time, and we still laugh about everything we did. And I'm not talking about just in the classroom, but at nights. Mr. Pearson was a great guy, and that's when I met Robert. Was it Mr. Pearson had the rattlesnake?
Perkins. Did Perkins have a rattlesnake?
Perkins. He was our coach for JV and freshman basketball. I got a picture of that, just in case you guys don't know.
Oh, you actually have a yearbook.
I got our senior and freshman year. There's a freshman and a JV on there. Mr. Washburn was probably my favorite because I can't believe, as big as that guy was, how fast he could run.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Hook.
Yeah.
Mr. Hook?
Yeah, he was a part of that too. When we got swatted, Mr. Hook would take us in the back and say, I'm going to give you a chance this time and I'm going to hit my foot. And he'd do that. And we go in, rubber butt, and everyone's like, he didn't hit you, blah, blah, blah. But there was times he'd say, okay, you deserve this one. You're getting the one on the butt. Yeah. And he'd smack us on the butt and we'd go and really rubbing it. And they'd all say, no, you didn't get hit. I did. Didn't one of them have holes in them or something?
Yeah.
That's Mr. Keel.
Yes.
And I remember signing it, each one of them.
Oh, you got to sign it if you got a swat?
Yeah, I think if you got swatted 3 times, you got to sign Mr. Hooks or something like that.
I can't remember getting swatted.
I don't think I ever got one because they were probably afraid that would break me in half or something.
So when I was like in 6th grade, Christine, you remember Christine? Her and some of her friends were in the back of David Seiler's Jeep. And we were toilet papering all the teachers. So where Mr. Washburn lives, across from the park is where I used to live.
Yeah.
We moved out of there when I was 5. So we knew the area pretty good. And we're over there toilet papering Mr. Washburn's house. And we did an amazing job. I mean, this is something you kind of stood back and looked at. And Dave Seiler parked his Jeep behind that house right next to the fairgrounds. And all of a sudden, the lights flip on and we hear a door open. And we all just take off a running for his Jeep. And we all jumped in the Jeep and we're driving down the back way past the fairgrounds, just laughing, giggling. Everybody's yapping at each other. And all of a sudden a deep voice goes, do you think you saw us? And we all looked, and Mr. Washburn was in the back of the Jeep with us. He had come out and was toilet papering his own house with us. And when his wife flipped on the light, he ran with us and jumped in the Jeep. And all of a sudden, there's Mr. Washburn talking to us. We all jump out of the Jeep, even the driver, David Seiler. The Jeep's going down the road and nobody's driving it. Oh, that guy was amazing.
What a story.
You tried to do the reverse, Corky.
Yeah.
When the teachers were squirting you with water, you tried to get in.
I jumped in with them. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Do you?
I remember that so well. Me and my friends were walking on Halloween, and I remember those guys squirting, and we thought it was the seniors too.
Yeah.
And we walked past London Drug, and these eggs started going flying past us. And we look over on top of Eldon and Sons Repair, and we see heads bobbing up and down, and we're like, oh, we're going to get these guys. So we walk around the back of Eldon and Sons Repair. We have our own eggs. And I think we were freshmen. All I know is we were just nailing them, and they were running all back and forth looking for us. And we're running down Center Street, headed towards, the mountains. And all these eggs just start flying by us. And I think they found out who we were, and they grabbed us the next day. But oh my gosh. And I remember the teachers spraying water.
Yeah.
That is so funny. It was those guys. I think we found out the next day.
It sounds like they had done it before, but when we were seniors, I jumped on the truck. I finally got on.
And my hat's off to you, buddy. That's awesome. I thought that was great. When I heard that story, I was like, oh my gosh, he's on that for sure.
I did so much training in elementary school running to the jungle gym that I was
Do you remember on that jungle gym, you would jump from the top bar to the next bar to the next bar and then onto the net? I think you were the one that perfected that.
I didn't break any limbs, so
somebody
that's
did.
Kind of perfection. Somebody did.
I think it was Wade Mallory or somebody.
Dave Shaw?
It wasn't you though, was it?
I didn't break my arm on that jungle gym. Somebody did though. You're right.
When I went from 6th grade probably to freshman year, me and Lance Cannon and Mike Hansen and a bunch of us used to run around at nights, right? And One time we were up on that New Holland where all the tractors were.
Oh, yeah.
We'd either throw snowballs at cars or apples or eggs.
Well, you were up on the roof of the New
Yeah.
Holland building?
Yeah, we used to get on the roof of every building there in Grace and cause a lot of mischief. But I remember we were up on top there and we were hanging out, and this car goes driving by from the school, and we threw some apples and just nailed that car. And it drove all the way down to the end of Main Street, pulled into the driveway, and we're like, okay, we're good. If somebody come over and try to get up, the only way they could get up is on a ladder. And we jump off on the other side on top of a tractor on the tire and then run across the street and hide in behind the tires or up inside the harvester. So we're sitting there waiting for the next car, and we look over by the Easy Way car wash, and there's a dark figure over there. Oh my gosh. Is that an ape? Who in the heck is that? And we're just sitting there watching. We're freaked out. And all of a sudden, we see a head and shoulders on the roof of that New Holland building, and we freak out. So we smack each other and go, we're out of here. So we jump down on top of the tire, and we take off a run, and we're laughing our butts off. Easy escape. We turned around, and whoever that was jumping off onto the tractor on top of the tires and running behind us.
Oh, my word.
And we're like, oh my goodness. So we run around, jump, and get up inside the harvester. And we're sitting there, and we're like, okay, we got to get across the canal and see who this is. So we go across the canal, and they come running through these tractors. And I'm like, holy crap, is this Superman? Who is this? So we run across, and all of a sudden I look back, and he grabs one of the guys and lifts him up. And I'm like, holy cow, we're dead. And I took off running, and I ran off and hid in the bushes. And so I remember I was waiting, and they come up, and they're like, Dave, where you at? Where you at? And I'm like, I'm over here. What's the matter? And he goes, we got to go home. And I go, what happened? He said, Mr. Washburn got a hold of me, grabbed me by the hood, lifted me up, and said, you're lucky this is an old car, because if it was somebody else's, you'd be dead. Now go home. He says, I'm going home. And I was like, son of a gun. How in the world does Mr. Washburn do the stuff that we just did as kids and catch us?
Wow.
That guy was faster than lightning.
How about
I
that?
remember at Scouts, we were jumping off the diving board, and he was doing, what's that called? A gainer. You jump off frontwards and do a backflip.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 45, 50 at the time. How does he do this stuff? Man, I talk to this guy all the time. We laugh. He remembers all this stuff. He still lives in that house across from the
Is
park.
that right?
Yeah.
How about that? How about high school? What do you got from
Okay.
high school?
High school, I have got to say Mrs. Olson, government class.
Her too, yeah.
Now, you know, Lance Ken and I was in that one together, and we absolutely tormented that lady, and she was so awesome to us.
You would give it right back, right?
Oh, yeah. You remember we used to take the tape off her desk and roll it across the whole room back and forth? Scott and Tina sat in one corner in the very back, so we'd roll it to them, and they'd roll it forward sometimes if we could get them to participate. Cody Fowler, I think, was in there. He'd roll it back. Jared Rasmussen, Kirsten Rasmussen was in there.
Yes.
Purnell Cleverly. Remember Purnell Cleverly?
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Yeah, we're rolling this back and forth, and every time we'd roll it, we'd start to laugh, and she'd turn around and go, what is going on? And we'd be like, nothing here, you know. That lady, I seen her a month ago come into physical therapy at the hospital, and she remembers us. I know that's her. I said, Mrs. Olson? She goes, yeah. And I go, oh my goodness, you remember me? Government class? You know, she looks old and she struggled a little bit, but last week I ran into Lynn Smith and his wife.
Okay.
Awesome to see these people.
So we've got boots on the ground. We need David.
Yeah, we
to do
do.
some interviews with some of these people in person.
Yeah. I'm
That'll be
thinking about
great.
coming down and interviewing Lynn and Dinah
Are you?
my spring break. I'm thinking about it.
She was
Taking a
doing
day.
physical therapy. So I believe Kevin Smith, his
Mhm.
son, Courtney, works at the physical therapy office
okay.
there. Actually, his sister, Lindsay,
Mm-hmm.
she
There's
works
a
at
Lindsay.
the outpatient on the
Oh,
other
that's
side
cool.
of the hospital.
Wow.
Absolutely great people. Yeah, it was so good to see Lynn. I said, you remember me? And he goes, yeah, I sure do. He says, you're a lot bigger than you was in high school.
Man,
Yeah.
why weren't you this size when I needed a defensive line?
Right? No kidding. I remember him telling my dad, when are you going to talk this kid into gaining some weight? He says, I'm trying. That's the way Logan is right now. He's 6'7". I think he weighs 180 pounds. He's
Oh,
a
wow.
perfect basketball player, you know.
Yeah.
He plays tight end and defensive end on football. And I posted a few videos of him, and he does so good. But he's like, Dad, I don't want to take a shot to the knees and ruin basketball because he's doing really well right now. But isn't that so fun to see everybody and reminisce on what we did?
Oh, absolutely. This does fill the gap for us.
Need
You
it.
see it at the hospital, but
Yeah.
this is all we get.
Craig Welker. I seen him last fall with his wife, and I said, "You remember me?" And he goes, "Absolutely. You're a lot taller than you were back then, too."
I love Craig and Maxine.
Oh, I
They're
love
awesome.
Craig, you know.
Yeah.
Rochelle got to see Craig when she was there.
Why'd you got to bring that up, dude?
So Mrs. Olson, do you remember her putting Jared Rasmussen's arm back behind his back?
I remember Jared falling asleep in her class, and I remember he tormented her more than I ever did. But I remember when she put his arm behind his back, it was hilarious.
I think he put his arm around her or something, like trying to buddy up to her.
Oh, and then
Yeah.
she did
Put
the
it
self-defense
real quick.
maneuver.
Yeah,
I want to say I remember Mrs. Harris doing that to him also.
probably.
Yeah.
Chad James talked about sniffing Tartantiny. Do you remember doing that?
The gasoline out of those tractors, I remember that.
You were sniffing gasoline?
You remember those old tractors that were across from the bridge? Or,
Yeah.
sorry, the library?
Yes.
Yeah, they had old gas in there. We were trying to get it out for our trucks or something, and somebody fell down and was sitting there going, "Ugh," and I was like, "What is going on?" And they're like, "You got to try this." I remember that. We got a code name for it. Hank the Tank. I don't know. Stupid kids.
Remember JJ eating stuff in biology class on a dairy?
Yes, like the mice and the
The
frogs.
formaldehyde and everything, the worms and everything.
Yeah.
He got like about 10, $15 off of us
I think
a
so.
couple times, didn't he?
You were making a mistake if you dared him to do anything for $1.
That was his main source of income for a while.
Oh, we had a guy out at Agrium, and somebody dared him $20. Somebody else dared him $20, and I think it got up to like $150. There was this great big spider, and the thing was huge. And he put it between two crackers, and he chomped on that. And when he bit into it, it shot juice everywhere.
Oh,
I thought I was going to absolutely die.
that's
And there he's
disgusting.
walking out laughing with $150 and this green junk coming down. And I got a video of that. Well, see, Lance Cannon and I, the reason we hung out so much is we dared each other to do crazy stuff
Yeah.
all the time, jumping off the flume, diving into it. You know,
Yeah.
the Salt River in Phoenix had some cliffs, and we used to jump off these cliffs in the river. And I remember we were at work, and it said on the news that somebody had jumped in that river and compound fractured their leg. And people used to use the restroom in that river. You know, you get drunk and go down that river. So they got gangrene.
Oh,
And I was
my
like,
word.
I'm
The water
done
was that
jumping
bad, huh?
Oh, it's
Wow.
terrible. Like people would make their own little rafts with tubes and barrels and stuff and have barbecues on there and everything. And you'd watch them, they'd whiz right off these boats. And I'm like, what in the heck are we doing here, guys? One of my friends that I went to school with in Arizona was getting married in Boise. And if you test drove a car, they'd give you a free bungee jump, but it was right above the other cars. And we just got done with the wedding and we were in Texas. And I'm like, dude, we got to do this in Texas. If we let them use us in an advertisement, they cut our cost in half. And I got a video of us jumping. It's on VHS.
How about that?
Oh, the craziest thing that Lance and I did, though.
I was about to ask that. You beat me to it.
We absolutely love the water, him and I. I just lived in water all the time. But we would push each other to do stupid things. And on one side of the Snake River by the temple, there's a little boat dock, and we dared each other to swim across the Snake River. And actually, it's like 60 yards across. But the thing that we didn't think about was the current takes you down to the temple. So we were actually swimming maybe 2 miles. And the bad thing about it is we had no swimming suits on. We just got in our skivvies, right? And this was in February. We'd polar ice jumped all the time. But we're going in here, and I said, we're going to die. And he's like, oh, we got this. So we're swimming across in our underwear. You know, we had to stay up and keep our head above water and not let our feet down because I said, there's undertows here bad. So we got to keep our feet up. We swam across the Snake River. We made it to the other side. We're laughing, you know, we get home. And later on, I was dating a girl down there. She said that her dad had 2 friends that swam across the river and drowned.
Wow.
And I was like, dude, we should have tied off to a boat. I mean, I'd have done it if we were tied to a boat, but I should have probably died there. And he's like, yeah, we sealed our fate on that. You know, we jumped off the flume, and at the second flume that you go down, we used to jump in there, and there's rocks underneath. And if you didn't hit right, your feet would go between the rocks. So one time I jumped and my foot went right between 2 rocks and it was stuck. And I remember the current was pushing me forward, so I couldn't put my foot out. And when I pulled it out, I took a chunk of skin out from my knee to my ankle, but I got out right before I lost air.
Wow.
I think you guys are talking about going down the flume with the water going over the sides.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to do that because you hit your head on the bars.
Mm-hmm.
But we used to jump in and just put our hands above our head. And when we were out of air, we'd grab a bar and pull ourselves up and get air and then push ourselves back down. And if you did it wrong, you would smack your head and get a big old bloody welt across your head. My dad would always say, "What are you doing? Just dive off of the flume." Now I'm paying for it with my neck injuries. But I mean, we dared each other to do so many dumb things. My kids are like, "You did not do that." And I said, "I actually did."
Yeah.
Give Me Grace, a podcast by Alan and Nolan, will return after these brief messages. At Pop Enterprises, we specialize in all types of flooring. Carpet, wood, tile, vinyl, and LVT, just to name a few. We are a family-owned and operated business and are more than happy to travel all around the country to meet your flooring needs. Pop Enterprises Flooring Solutions. For all your flooring and laminate needs, call Pop. The way we did things back then hasn't changed much nowadays. Even in changing times, here at Gibbs Farms, we'll continue to keep our traditions alive.
You think that I'm just some great survivor?
Do you like corn dogs? Yes! Okay, good. Because our sponsor is the Corn Dog Company. If you were going to have a corn dog, what would you have on your corn dog?
Ketchup! I mean, it's all right. Like,
I tried honey on it, and it was pretty good.
yes, yes.
Look on the internet and find your nearest corn dog company. The Corn Dog Company. Get some corn dogs.
Please, right now, today.
Now back to this episode of Give Me Grace, a podcast by Alan and Nolan.
I used to get bloody noses really bad when I was younger because we worked in the potato harvest and stuff. I just get these bloody noses. I end up getting it cauterized. But I remember one time I jumped off the flume and there was a bunch of younger girls at the flume. And I remember I come up and blood was all over my face because of the bloody noses. I remember crawling out of there and the girls were screaming, "Get a doctor." And I was like, "I'm all right." And they're like, "Oh, we're going to die. Don't do it." Like, it's not bad. You guys, I actually jumped off the flume like 3 years ago. The reason I come back here is my childhood was pretty amazing in Grace and Caribou County. Mm-hmm. And I lived in Boise, I lived in Twin Falls, I lived in Arizona, but I want my kids to experience that stuff. And we do. We go down the flume probably 5-6 times a year. 23 got shut down because the old guy died that had the trail. And so his son blocked it off. But we used to go down there all the time. Love 23, you know. Mm-hmm. We live in the water. We're at water skiing. We have land out at Blackfoot Reservoir. So we go water skiing, fishing out there. Just love to be able to do that stuff here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sounds like the area hasn't changed that much.
It really hasn't.
Kids still do that stuff, though?
Oh, absolutely. Matter of fact, the flume is a little out of control right now.
People come from all over to go to the flume, right?
Yeah. All these TikToks and YouTubes, man, there's people from everywhere. You actually have to stand in line to go down the flume. It's not like it was when we were kids. We used to tie a board to the end and surf it. Yeah. We used to surf all the time at the end of the flume and jump off of it and stuff like that. And now they're just Utahns everywhere. That one kid drowned a little while ago. He didn't know how to swim, and he went down the flume. And so he was too scared to walk across. So he went to swim across on the bottom underneath, and he couldn't swim. So he jumped on his buddy's back, and his buddy went down with him, and he lost him, and he went down and drowned. They found him a few hours later. But I'm sorry, I'm jumping fast. Go ahead.
You're good. So you mentioned you had a story about Nolan. I want to hear it.
My sister was married to Matt Peterson, and we lived at that house up the road.
Yeah.
And he used to work for your dad.
Yeah.
And I remember Nolan come up all the time. We'd go through that old barn up there, or we'd go down and run across the haystacks underneath there, or we'd go to your mom. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she usually had some cookies or something to eat.
Probably.
We'd play air hockey.
Yes.
Yeah, we'd always play air hockey, Sean and you and I. And I just remember telling my sister, can I come out and go to your house? And you guys was always working a lot, but I think we always managed to do a lot of stuff. Yeah. And it was so fun to hang out with Nolan, when we were kids. But Corky, do you remember when you and David Shaw would come to my house and we'd float down the canal?
Mm-hmm.
Remember coming to the house, knocking on the door, and David say, hey, is David here? And I'd say, no, he's right there.
Yeah.
And we went down and floated all the time.
Yeah.
One time David wasn't there, and you come up, and I said, where's David? He's gone. I said, want to hit the canal? And he said, yeah. So we went down the canal. We hung out at the end there, and we chatted on that little log. I remember that stuff like yesterday. So grateful for that.
That was our own Salt River, wasn't it?
Yeah. There's quite a few little peas in there, I'm sure. We had these rapids right next to my house in the canal, and we'd get on the tube and go down these rapids, and then it'd calm down, and we could go all the way down to the library.
Mm-hmm.
But those rapids were fun. We did that all the time as kids. And I remember JJ did it a lot with us.
Yeah.
Rochelle and Tria Keller and all them were swimming in this little hole right by our house. I remember getting up on top of the house watching them, and they said, hey, come on down. You don't get that in Arizona sometimes. And if you do, you don't want to get in the water.
Yeah.
Probably the same in Texas too.
Yeah.
Are we ready for section 4?
I think so.
Where were you when Napoleon Dynamite came out?
Napoleon Dynamite. Where was I? I was in Preston, Idaho when that came out.
Were you really?
Is that right?
Well, that was when I did insurance, and my boss lived in Preston. So we stayed in Preston a lot. So that was from like 97 to 2002. I don't want to mention any names, but this guy, his sister ran the video store and the thrift store.
The thrift store was the DI, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
And she had a video store, and the video store was kind of going out of style. I think she ran both of those. And I used to go in that arcade there. When I was waiting for some people that I had to get a hold of to renew their insurances, I'd go in and play these games. So you see Napoleon Dynamite, he just bought his suit. He's walking down the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I swear I seen him walk down that sidewalk in front of the arcade because a bunch of people went by. They had these little small cameras, and he walked down it.
Wow.
And I remember seeing this lanky kid, and I remember seeing all these cameras.
Who was this lanky doofus?
But no, what makes me mad is my cousin casted that movie. She's the one that was a casting director.
Oh, wow.
It makes me mad because I could have been in there.
Yeah,
But
she didn't hook you up.
no.
Yeah. Is that worse than what Rochelle did?
No, that's not worse. Rochelle's
On the Rochelle. Okay.
I have a question too. So had you been in that movie, what role would you like to have had in that movie?
I always thought I was an Uncle Rico. I could sit on the stairs and go, Coach would have put me in. I'd have won state. So I could throw this football over those mountains. We say that all the time.
If Coach would have called the right play, we would have won state.
Yeah.
We'd have won state for sure. Over there, seen those Indian head.
Over there in that pink head, I found a show shown in the head.
Yeah, that's right.
Over there, that pig man, I found a couple of soaps on the arrowhead.
So when that come out, my aunt told my dad, her brother, to go as a family and watch it. Just hated that show, guys.
Really?
Oh, wow.
I did. I thought, what are you
Didn't
guys
speak to
trying
you.
to prove? We look stupid.
Oh,
And I
that's
told
awesome.
Dad, I said, why do you want us to look stupid like that? He goes, I don't know. It wasn't that great. The more I watched it, the funnier it got.
Yeah.
And I can see in that movie where I was at that time.
Yeah,
That's what's
funny.
cool to me is I remember, what was it, American Video or something? And I think the little dojo was right next to that. I remember, when he's walking down the street, you can kind of see the polar bear in the back, but you can see the tractors behind him.
The old polar bear, yeah.
Yeah. When I worked down there, I used to go and fish at those lakes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Hmm.
So yeah, I feel like I'm a part of that. Matter of fact, I have a really good friend who's in the lunch scene, and she did a lot of the pictures, the posters,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the gym and stuff. And she's actually eating lunch in that scene. Her name is Summer Harrison.
How about
Oh,
that? So your
yeah.
cousin hooked her up,
Yeah,
but not you.
didn't even know her, and she hooked her up.
No.
And then the more that we watch it, my sons will quote it all the time. Your sister goes to college.
Yeah.
Your mom goes to college.
I do get a kick out of it now if I watch it. I still laugh.
Next time I watch, I'll have to look for the arcade.
Look for the arcade and look for the names. It's pretty
All
cool. I was like, oh my gosh, my cousin's right there.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Most everyone likes Bluebell. Did you spend much time in Turner's, or you're a Bluebell person?
Bluebell all the time.
Yeah.
I was always at Bluebell. I went to Turner's quite a bit because I think someone was saying there was an arcade in the back.
It was.
So
right?
we did go back there. Kim Peterson was part of the Turner clan.
Yeah.
So we went over there quite a bit and played in the back. And there was a lot of the older folks in front, having their coffee and pie. But my sisters used to work down there. Christine actually almost sliced her wrist grabbing a knife off the kitchen wall. I remember going and picking her up down there. But yeah, we spent a little time at Turner's. I kind of liked it, but Bluebell all the way.
Yeah.
We used to move pipe in the mornings, and we'd drive down there on our motorcycles, and we get a farmer special and chocolate milkshake.
You would get that in the morning?
Yeah, well, it'd be
Yeah.
probably around 10 o'clock. I think if you were moving like 6 hand lines at 7 o'clock or whatever, around 10 o'clock, we'd go down and eat.
Yeah.
Then we'd go down to 23 and jump in.
That was your schedule in the summer,
Oh,
huh?
until we got older and we had to work all day with Everett Miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You worked for Miles?
Yeah, Dave and Everett. Love those guys too.
So the farmer special was your go-to?
Yeah, farmer special. I believe somebody talked about the English chips. The slush puppies were awesome when it was super
Oh,
hot. Remember the slush
yeah,
puppy
slush
machine?
Yeah.
That was good. I remember going down and playing pool all the time.
Yeah.
I bought a Mustang when we graduated, and I parked it right next to the entranceway on its own little parking spot so nobody would bump into it. Matter of fact, I think that's where I met my first wife. It was when I was driving through Grace. I drive my Mustang through Grace at about 1 o'clock in the morning going 120 miles an hour.
Oh. I can imagine the adrenaline from that. That's
What
pretty
was I
cool.
doing?
Well, you had that in your back pocket. Like, he's not going to give you a ticket.
No, Matt would have given me a ticket first.
Mm.
Really?
But we would drive around to make sure no one was there, and then we would tell everybody, hey, stay off Main Street or something. I was worried about pets or kids, but 120 in the Mustang going through town. That's when the girl I married said, "Yeah, you're crazy." And I said, "Well, let's go over to the Bluebell and play a little pool and talk about it."
The sheriff, Ray, lived on Main Street.
Yeah, so we'd start right at the bridge, and
Yeah.
we'd end probably kind of by the cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Usually when we would try to see how fast a car could go, you go out past the elevators, kind of by where Corky's
Yeah.
house is, towards Central. It
Yeah.
was a nice, straight, long strip of road. Test out a car
Oh.
pretty good there.
I got my Camaro.
Yeah.
My kids say that's a midlife crisis, probably, but by the Plants Agrium to the reservoir, that's where I
okay.
take that.
Out there.
But I
I
had
see.
that thing going 157, and it was right by McCammon. I think Logan clocked me, and he goes, "Dad, I'm going to post this." And I go, "Don't, because I got 2 friends that are cops on here. Don't post it." But I got a picture of it, and I was like, "Man, I'm going to kill
Wow.
myself." And that was probably 2 years ago. I think I got that.
Is that the
about
fastest you've ever been going in a car?
Yeah.
157?
Yeah, and I think I had a little more to go with that Camaro.
Really? I think
Wow.
the fastest I ever went in a car was Jeff Taggart's GTO 150.
I remember that GTO. Yeah, 150. That's pretty good.
Yeah, probably could have gone faster too. But
That's a
Soda,
great...
Preston, you picked Soda because you live in Soda.
Never even
Yeah.
golfed in Preston.
Yeah, but he was in the movie.
I spent so much
That's a
time in
tough one.
Preston those couple of years. I fished Glendale, Foster, and I absolutely just had a ball doing that insurance. We just took care of people's claims and stuff like that. It was just a great time because Preston is a beautiful area.
It's
And
nice.
I remember seeing most of these houses that they're stopping at, when he's selling us Tupperware and where he took that kick over for summer.
You can see that one from the highway.
Yeah, Preston is just beautiful. But when I grew up, I wasn't around a whole lot because I hung around with the seniors all the time. Do you guys remember that?
I don't.
Like
Garrett.
Todd Smith, Shane Lester, and all those.
Yeah. They were mentoring.
we spent a lot of time in soda because they all knew soda girls and boys, and I dated all the girls in soda.
Yeah.
I dated a few in Grace, but I dated most of them from soda.
Maybe you were hanging out with Travis.
Travis Winley? I seen Travis quite a few times over there, yeah.
And Corky and I were playing Tripoli or something.
Probably playing Scrabble against myself.
I mean, we parked all the time up here in Soda, and we drug Maine, and I just love Soda. I love the people up here. I still friends with a lot of the guys from high school,
Did you go to a kegger? How many people would attend these? What's the biggest attendance you think you ever had at one of these keggers?
The biggest attendance, good night, Nolan. I want to say probably over 50, 60 people.
Oh, okay. That's amazing. Yeah.
I got to a good point where I knew almost everybody. And when I walked into the kegger, someone would throw me a beer before I even said, here I am. And I would catch one. I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's get it started,
Yeah, so, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
And, I was a kid and I got started doing stupid things with these older boys a lot. And probably one of my regrets is not spending more time with you guys. I just was with all my buddies doing crazy things. We went to keggers at the flume at night. We were jumping off the flume in the middle of the night, and you don't know when you're going to hit the water.
You're an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
I wasn't. So
yeah.
That's why you probably were like, oh, this guy's boring, man.
All I remember was every time we went to these keggers, they were at night and there was a fire. Yeah. And it's usually, at the flume or north of Soda where the cops couldn't go. Yeah. But if you were at the flume, they would try to surround you. So we'd either jump off the flume or you'd go down it to the next flume or you go up in the lava rocks. You usually never got caught unless you were new and didn't know what to do. But I got started early because of these older boys, like I told you. But I mean, everybody knew you and everybody was so cool. Everyone was just relaxed and you laughed and you had a good time. And there were girls all over the place, and all your buddies were there from football. And it was just a good time. I got a little bit carried away with some of the things, but Travis was there. Derek was there.
You don't have to name names, but were there ever people that would show up and you're like, wow, I'm kind of surprised to see that person at the kegger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of church goers that were there. I was a church goer, I mean, I come home one time and I was a mess. And my mom, oh, bless her soul, I love her so much. They'd always have me tell them I was home. So I'd walk down the hallway and I'd say, I'm home. And they say, okay, go to bed. So I go to bed. Well, one time I walked down the hallway and my dad's a big guy.
Yeah.
And he met me in the middle of the hallway and flipped on the light. And I ran right into him. And he's like, where you been? And I was like, I was just out. And he goes, you been drinking? And I said, when you smell it? I put all this Brute Fabergé on me. And he's like, all I can smell is that nasty Brute. And I said, see, I wasn't drinking. He goes, get in your bed. You got church in the morning. Ooh. So I go downstairs. My mom wakes me up at 5 o'clock. I probably got 2 hours sleep. She wakes me up, makes me mow the lawn. I throw up out there and then I go and take a shower. I throw up in the shower and then she goes, okay, go get dressed. You're going to church. So I go to Sacrament and I'm sitting at church and Manon.
Oh, Manon.
She's sitting in front of me. She goes, can you see? And I go, it doesn't even matter. Not even here anyway. Don't even worry about it. But it's an experience that we all sometimes go through. And I think that this is something that you share with your children because you experience stuff like that. And you're like, you know what to watch for, you know what to tell them to do. My kids are good kids. They may have tried a little bit here and there, but I've never seen them come home drunk, which I'd have probably kicked their butts. But between you and I had a blast. I got in trouble with the coaches. I had to do a couple of extra practices or had to sit a couple of quarters, but you guys probably remember that. Yeah. I just wanted to experience life. I just wanted to see everything. I was an adrenaline junkie. I didn't get out of control, but I just loved everything. We just enjoyed each other's company. We all became really close friends. Yeah. And a lot of those soda boys I become friends with. And I'd have took either one of you guys down there with me. You guys would have been welcome.
There you go.
I played sports with you guys and I enjoyed that. But I also hung out with the guys who partied a little bit because they were more relaxed and they had a lot of fun. And I don't know, I just loved to joke and laugh with them. And we did, Yeah. I never got into drugs or anything like that. I never did that because my cousin died when I was young because of drugs. Yeah. So I never ever got into that. But with those guys, they're like, you ain't going home until you finish all this beer. So, I mean, I got started early, Still love it to this day, but I walked away from that a long time ago because, when you grow up, you got a family you got to take care of,
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't regret living my life. I enjoy every little bit of my life, whether that was a part of it or not. I love the people I met. Like every job that I've done now, I meet somebody new and we become best friends. I have great people in my life. And I want to extend a welcome to all of our classmates. If they come through Soda, usually the ones I'm in touch with usually stop by and we have lunch. I would just love to reminisce with people that actually know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were a cool guy, and we would have liked to have hang out with you more. And so now it's given us the opportunity to talk more and build that friendship 35 years too late, maybe, but it's okay now. It's been fun. And so that's partly why we're doing this too, is to rebuild these relationships and make good going forward.
There are a lot of ways to think about regrets, and reminiscing with Brett, with you, with Travis, with so many people. It's like, why did I take myself so seriously? Why did I think the narrow 3% of total activities that I could be participating in were my whole world,
It's so funny how we see things differently, where there was a lot of people that I could not stand to be around. And if there's too much commotion around me, I can't take it. Like if I go to airport or something, I actually get a lot of anxiety, and I didn't realize that until I was older, that a lot of it's even my family. But I realize now that when some of us were on the bus and stuff, I'd have to listen to music to kind of block everyone out. And I wish that I knew that better, because I think that a lot of people thought that I was kind of a little bit distant and didn't want to be around certain people. But I think it was something that I was dealing with at the time. So when you guys would be talking about one thing and these guys would be talking about one thing on the bus, I'd be like, I can't take this. I need to get off. But if I would have known more, I think I would have paid more attention and got more involved. Back then, I was really high strung and I just got in fights all the time. And I didn't want to be. I just wanted to be left alone sometimes and focus on just the mild things, because I really enjoy the people that I talk to, and I feel so many friendships more than I've had before, and I know it's because we're older, and I kind of regret not giving more time to our class than I should have. Because whether it was dating girls, or these guys that wanted to go to these parties, or, go to another town and get in a fight. We went to other towns and got in fights all the time. I have more fun fishing with my friends than I do arguing with them.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm blabbing too much.
No, we're basically kind of moving on to the last section. But one thing that we always wanted with this podcast is for people to feel free to talk about and say whatever they wanted. It's valuable stuff that we're talking about. And I think it's helping us realize who we were and then who we are, and realizing that we're not that much different than we were then.
Right.
And that's good. But did you spend more time in Pokey or Logan?
Pocatello all the way.
Yeah.
My sisters went to college at USU, and we spent a lot of time down there shopping and going to dinner and making sure they were okay when I was younger. But every time my friends and I went anywhere, it was Pocatello. Right now, if you said any place, anywhere in Pocatello, I could take you there. Pocatello was a huge part of me, especially the malls and stuff, when we were younger. Yeah. But now, if we need something, I know exactly where I need to be and how much time it'll take to get there. So it's absolutely Pocatello.
Yeah. Did you spend much time in Chubbuck?
Yeah, I actually dated a couple girls from Chubbuck. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Chubbuck. Chubbuck is actually growing pretty big right now.
The town's changed a little bit because of that. That whole new exit up there. Yeah.
Did you spend much time at the county fair?
Absolutely.
You still go?
Absolutely. I ran into Scott and John Van Vliet down there. I think most of the people that you've asked that question go down there and see a lot of friends, and that's what we go down for, is to see the friends and eat the food,
What about when you were a kid? What was your favorite thing to do at the county fair?
We love to go on the rides and play the games and stuff like that. I wasn't much into the rodeo scene, but we used to go down there and we used to win the mirrors.
Yeah.
I have a couple of those mirrors still from the fair.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have a couple of those. I actually worked down there as a kid when you threw the dime into the dish and won a little duck.
You won a duck once? Yeah.
Yeah, I won a duck, and I had that duck for like 8 years. Yeah. Or we'd go down there and get in fights. You guys ever get in fights down there?
I never got in a fight at the
It's
fair.
usually right after the fair, before the dance.
Oh, before the dance.
Right
Yeah.
when the fair was getting ready to close, there'd be something going on at the park.
Yeah, just right there between my house and the carnival. Yeah.
I do have one question before Corky takes the last section. Do you remember the junior prom floor show?
Kind of.
Do you remember who your partner was? And do you remember what song we danced to at the floor show? 43-year-old Dave doesn't remember that?
I want to say it was probably Crystal.
Okay.
And I do not remember the song that we danced to.
Okay. I was hoping you might.
Do you remember?
I thought it was Faithfully by Journey, but I've been told it's not. All right. I think we're ready.
Okay. So, David, what's something that our viewers might not know about you?
Ooh, there's a lot of things that they don't probably know. For example, when I worked down in Arizona, I shook hands with Linda Carter and Alice Cooper.
Oh, that's cool.
That is really cool. When I worked at that body shop, they brought in their cars. Yeah, there's that. I raised my kids by myself.
Yeah.
You know, you have to make sure their homework is done and they got something good to eat. So I did a great job at keeping those kids fed with good food. And I'm a pretty good cook.
Say I'm passing through town and I want to make contact with you and you invite me over and your go-to meal is going to be what?
Okay, if it's fast, I like to throw some pasta on. So I'd probably do like some lasagna or something. My go-to, if I had some good friends like you guys, I'd probably smoke some ribs. Love to smoke the chicken.
What sides are we having with ribs?
A good pasta salad, you know.
Okay. Mustard or mayonnaise?
Both, probably.
The best ones do have both.
Yeah. You know, potato salad's pretty good too. I like to do a potato salad, but if we're going to do a good steak, sometimes we'll do a big slab of corn out from Preston.
You grill that up or just boil it?
I'll do both. Doing it on the grill is super easy. You just leave the husk on it.
Yeah.
You know, you pull the husk back and throw some of that Parmesan and salt and butter on there.
Oh, yeah. It's all steaming. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good.
That's good stuff.
My kids love the quick stuff, but I can throw together a good taco soup. Yeah, good stuff.
Very good. So you've probably answered this question already. You've expressed it already, but with the passage of time, what does growing up in Grace mean to you?
I still drive into Grace. My dad still lives there. My two sisters just built 2 houses there. A couple of days ago, we went and watched a funeral service for my cousin.
Who was your cousin?
He was from Utah, so we watched it on the Zoom. He was down there, and there was a storm that come through, so we went over there and watched it. When I go into Grace, the small town feel and the vibe from everybody down there. Now, most of the people that know me down there know I was kind of a little troublemaker, but you know, people know that you change and people give you every kind of a benefit. My family was good people, but everybody watched everybody. Everybody took care of everybody. When my mom passed away, I cannot believe the people that opened their arms to us and brought a lot of stuff over. My oldest sister passed away. It was just amazing, the people that came and expressed their love. You know, people that we knew really well, we did the same for them. And that's just something that you don't find very often. So all of my kids play sports. They had a great time playing it, you know, and everybody's like, great job, patting Logan on the back, saying, man, you're doing great. You're cocky as hell. But if he was playing in Logan, he could be 7'8" and still be the 6th man.
Hey, you're speaking my language. I wouldn't have sniffed varsity anywhere but Grace.
But it's so good that everybody cares. And I think somebody said, you know, you don't lock your doors. I don't lock my doors on my cars. My house is open if somebody needs to come in. Of course, I'm up in Bailey Creek, you know, the park city of Caribou County, but people up here watch for everybody, you know, and I love that tight community.
Good place.
Very good. So Nolan mentioned that we're similar from then, and I think that's true, but how do you feel like you've changed?
I'm a lot more accepting of people. I feel like I didn't give very many people a chance. I just felt like I passed judgment a little bit too soon on a lot of people. And I want to say the right words, so you guys are going to have to help me with this. But, you know, I did not dislike anybody in our class and most of the school. I think that if I was to do it all over again, I would love to get to know our class a little bit better. I tell my boys, don't focus on one girl. You know, I would have loved to date everybody.
I would have loved to date anybody. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
You did, Corky. You did. There's a lot of girls that I always wanted to date, and I feel like I didn't because for some reason when you're in high school, you date somebody and that's where you stop.
The pairing up thing, such a big thing.
I really wished I didn't do that because I think that I'd have had a lot of fun with a lot of the classmates and, I think I blew my chances on a lot of that.
When we have our 40th class reunion, is there a good place there that we could have it?
Sounds like the Flume.
Oh, man, can you imagine? I don't think anybody would go down it, right?
No, I wouldn't.
Not
you would, but I wouldn't.
We'd all watch you. We would throw eggs at you as you're going down.
I'll tell you what, I'd probably jump off again.
Oh, we should have it in his clubhouse up there in the Park City of Caribou County.
I like that idea, but Grace High School having a reunion in Soda?
Well, actually, Bailey Creek is between Soda and Grace, so it's actually halfway.
Yeah.
So there is that, but I think the last class reunion we met at that little pavilion by the seminary building in Grace.
Yeah.
I still have some really cool pictures of that reunion.
That's cool. Yeah.
Remember what year that was?
That was 2009. I couldn't go because my brother was getting married, and that's when he got married.
I think I remember everybody who was there because we rode on the float. I tried to get into my Grace football jersey, and boy, that was a struggle. I don't know how I got into it with pads on. Son of a gun. But I remember throwing candy to everybody on the parade, and that was so good to see everybody.
Fun.
Kirsten Rasmussen, she taught 2 of my kids in school.
Yeah.
She'd come up and give me a big old hug, and it was so good to see her, and all the people that are here we usually run into, and it's absolutely a treat to run into the old classmates and reminisce just for 5 minutes of what, we used to do. I talked to a few of our classmates. I'm like, who's in charge of this class reunion? Let's get this thing done, man. I'll do it myself if I got it.
All right. Well, Tina said she's going to take care of the food, so she's the chair of our food committee.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wasn't Corey Kingston involved in some of this?
He was our class president.
Yeah. What is going on here? Let's get something going. Is he in Logan?
Yeah.
He's going to come on soon.
He has like a chiropractic empire there in northern Utah.
So he used to do it over in Montpelier.
Yeah. We'll get there.
I mean, even if we've got to split it with everybody, because I know everyone's all over the United States right now, but it sure be good to meet up.
Yeah, just have something during fair time, maybe. Yeah. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Late summer.
Have a corny dog or something.
Yeah.
I proposed San Antonio, but that would be too much trouble for everyone else. So I guess I'll come over there.
I'll propose Billings.
If we do San Antonio, let's do that in the winter months.
Yeah, that's a good point.
When I was in Arizona, we broke the record at 122 when I was down there. I actually still got the printout of the newspaper, and I was like, what in the world am I doing here? Because we went down there in October, but once July hit, goodness.
It's miserable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I will show up in Grace or Soda.
2029.
If I remember, Nolan was at the Flume.
No.
Yeah, he had a little background
picture of the Flume.
Dude, I thought you was at the Flume. I was like, there's no way you're in Grace and you didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, well.
It was Scott and Tina's episode, and I had a picture of the Flume behind me.
I thought you was in the Flume.
That would have been the first time I ever went in the Flume.
Are you guys serious?
I think I went down once and I jumped off the bridge once.
You did, huh?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Jeez, we used to dive. I want to say Sean Perkins and I and David Shaw might have dove with us.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, he knew how to dive, so I bet he did.
Yeah. I ran into David Shaw when we went up with the bungee cord and stuff. Somehow we got a hold of him and we ended up going to his place.
Oh, nice.
And it was a freaking party house, dude. And it was so fun. And he had all these great people in there. I think we stayed the night, but we ended up going and partying with that kid. And we went down to Camelback Park.
Yeah.
Played volleyball with a bunch of these people. And it was so good to see Dave. I feel bad because I haven't seen him since. I talked to his dad every once in a while. And like a long time ago, I talked to his dad. But Chad James, I run into his parents at the car show in Soda last summer. And then at the car show in Pocatello. They live where my sister lives. They're still the same people. They just look great. And I talked to him. I go, how's Chad doing? How is Chad doing? I don't know how to get a hold of him or what's going on. And they're like, oh, he's doing good. But I didn't know he had moved.
He's in Houston now.
Yeah. Last time I heard he was in Boise or something. But I'm friends with most of us on Facebook. But to see Chad James, that don't look like him. If he watches this episode, tell him he can come and get on my boat. We'll get the water skis on and we'll go to Bear Lake. There's no sharks in Bear Lake. Well, there is the Bear Lake monster. You got to kind of watch for that. But I remember, I don't think he likes water or something.
Yeah.
He likes to be on a boat, but doesn't love the water. I think you're right. Geez. Do you water ski?
Yes. Love the water ski. I'll be honest, I haven't water skied for probably 10 years, though. I still snow ski, though. You've probably seen some pictures of me on Facebook. And that reminds me, too, you can take this off, but Corky, your mom friended me on Facebook and chatted with me for a little while.
Oh, nice.
Sweetest lady. She said, "Are you the David Mellor that went to school with my boy?" And I said, "Yeah, but I don't really know you." And she goes, "You were such a good friend to Corky. Thank you so much." And I was like, "I never talked to you very much." What a sweet lady. She talked to me quite a bit.
Yeah.
What a great lady. It broke my heart to know that, we lost her.
Yeah.
And Nolan, your mom is still okay, right?
Her memory's going quick, but she's down there in Preston at the assisted living facility there.
The girlfriend I'm dating now, she is a Swenson.
Yes.
When we see your mom and dad, we talk to them all the time because she's related to your mom. And so her dad was with your family when Sean had his accident. He was there. I want to say either he was there or he told her that his brother's son passed away. So tell me how they're related. I knew I was going to do this because she told me how you guys were related because she talks to your mom all the time.
Is she from the Salmon area?
No, she was from Utah, but she'd come up every summer when she was younger because her stepdad was a Swenson.
Oh.
I think her dad was Joe's brother.
Okay.
But I'm not for sure. She wanted me to tell you hi, and I told her who I was talking to, and she's like, "Tell him hi," because we're somewhat related, but she'd always see your mom and talk to her.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've lost parents. I lost my sister to cancer.
Yeah, you've had a tragedy in your family.
I mean, I never knew Corky's mom very well. I knew your parents fairly well when I went and seen them, but I loved our friendship, Corky, with your mom and Nolan with your mom and dad. It's just amazing.
When I would go to your house, I was welcome.
Always
Dad would
welcome.
tell a joke or two, probably. And
yeah, it's kind of sad that we're all getting older and we have to go through that stuff. Just wanted to reach out with my sympathy to both of you. So the dentist office that's right behind Corky's old place is a part of the hospital. Brett Smith goes down there. Yeah, I have to go down and take care of that. And I think of Corky's house all the time. We used to walk past there when we'd walk home from school. I'd walk past your house and then head down to mine. I don't know if you remember that. We didn't do it a lot. We did it quite a few times.
Yeah, I do remember.
But your house got bought out and they are turning it into 2 apartments.
Oh, is that right?
Evidently, it used to be an apartment or something.
It used to be a doctor's office.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
And every time I pull into that office to check it out, I'm looking over there and I'm like, doggone Corky.
Played a lot of wiffle ball in that backyard, that little rectangular yard.
So my nephew bought that house right next to you where we used to play the baseball and stuff right next to you. It was Mays, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Christine's youngest son, he married. So they live right there. And I'm like, Corky lived right over there.
Yeah.
Then I drive by Nolan's old place and that millionaire bought that over, right? So I drove my Staker Parsons cement truck down there and poured some concrete for that guy. Absolutely breaks my heart. That place is beautiful, but I remember what it was. Yeah. I remember what it used to be when we would run up and down the haystacks. I'm like, gosh, dang it. Do I got to really grow old? What the crap is the matter, man?
You live in a place where like 4 things have changed and you're like, oh, this is heartbreaking. 4 things have changed.
Dude, I'm not going to tell you everything is changing over here. Good heavens, there's houses popping up just like downtown Logan now. And I'm like, what is going on? I just miss all the memories that we had as kids. And I still feel like we could grab a football and a baseball and go out back and play,
Yeah.
Over 53 years old.
Rub in a little Ben Gay.
Could you imagine if we come to our class reunion and we grabbed a football or a baseball and went and had some fun?
We'd have to do that.
Todd Hansen. It breaks my heart that he never mentioned me, but I went over to Todd Hansen's house quite a bit, stayed the night. Right next to Jeff Taggart's house, we would play baseball or football.
Yeah.
So his dad and my dad used to go hunting all the time together.
Oh, wow.
And I drive by there all the time, and I'm like, what in the world happened? We were just kids a little bit ago.
Yeah. Is that neighborhood over there across the canal pretty much the same, or has it changed quite a bit?
There's a lot of people that are doing things to their house, updating their houses and stuff, but most of the houses are still there.
Monta Vista, right?
Yeah, Monta Vista. I used to watch that from my bedroom window.
Oh, yeah. It's just through the field there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I remember talking to Todd, say, what's going on over there? I can see your house. I think I remember Santa Claus landing on Jeff Taggart's house when we was looking out the window on Christmas Eve night.
Oh,
how about that?
When we played West Side, I got in a fight with Ryan Harris.
Oh, really?
Punched him in the eye, cut his eye, and he punched me in the lip, cut my lip.
I think I do remember this.
And I got suspended for 3 days.
Yeah.
And my parents didn't do anything, so I just got on the snow machine and drove in that field all day long. And at noon, I'd go down to the high school and say hi to everybody. And I'd go over and say hi to Todd, and I'd go back over to the house. Great time. Great time. You remember the G?
I didn't go that day.
Are you sure? Because I got a picture.
That I was up painting the G?
I swore you're on that picture.
Maybe I'm
If I
wrong.
was to say anything to Corky, I'd say, Corky, why in the heck aren't I in this yearbook that much? You took the pictures, right?
I took some of them and ruined some of them.
Can you see this very well? Who's this guy?
Yeah.
Corky and Tori.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you have a yearbook, David.
I didn't never tell Nolan yet. I did find my yearbook.
Oh, you
I
found
got
one?
at home. Hmm? Yeah. David, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a treat. This has been so fun.
I just absolutely appreciate you guys taking this time and getting us all back together. I think you know what you've done, and I think everybody knows what you've done for us. So thank you guys for that.
I can't do it without him and Omar and others. There's other people they're helping that don't get a lot of publicity, but now that I know you both have a yearbook, Ginger can go back to her life. I don't have to bug her anymore for the pictures.
By the way, it's not poke. It's poke.
Yeah. I stopped asking.
Kind of stuck, but I was
Poke.
definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad, you know? Poke.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
This has been so awesome. Thank you, David.
It has. It has. Thank you guys. I appreciate all of it.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Go
Take
Chiefs.
care.
I met your friends at the bar last night. I think the round of limoncello won them over. I said we're perfect till we hardly ever fight. I told them you're a queen, I'm just a lucky joker. Things are going great, yeah, we communicate. Loving you is easier than ever. I pray you never go, there's something you should know. I hope you stay forever, cause if you ever leave me, girl, I'll get a face tattoo, steal a truck, end up on the 6 o'clock news. If you say goodbye, hell, I'll dye my hair, crash your birthday party in my underwear. Hey, I hope you never have to see the day, but if you ever walk away, well, everybody you know, everybody I know's gonna know you fell in love with a psycho. I met your mom, your dad, I met your older brother. Even your bestie says we perfect for each other. They say they love me and they think that I'm the best. They think they know me, but they